All righty, here we are, another beautiful day in the Napa Valley. How is everyone doing this evening? It's not quite evening here yet, but it will be, because I'm sure some of you are listening from the East Coast. All right, well, we have an interesting live stream for all y'all today. We're going to be talking about, we're going to start off. Actually, I'm going to start off with a brief update, a brief channel update, and then I'm going to introduce Bad Drivers of the Bay Area, who is going to be joining the stream here very shortly. I see that he is off in the wings waiting for me to add him in. So I'm going to bring him in just a minute here. So let's start off with a channel update. See, you might be wondering how I'm doing. Things have been pretty crazy, actually. I think the last stream I was telling you about this death we had in the family, and that has actually made for a very hectic life recently, just trying to get everything in order in the wake of her death. So we've come to terms with her passing, but now we're just picking up the pieces, I guess. Just getting things in order. There's a lot to do. It's going to be consuming quite a bit of our time, but I'm still dedicated to getting videos out to you. So, with that said, as you know, if you've been following our videos regularly, you've seen that we have reposted old content that constitutes a reboot of our channel. And so that meant going back to 2012, or I think it was 2012, is where our our earliest content was. And then we basically rebooted with video number 1, starting with 2012, working our way up the years of old content. And as we repost the old content alongside fresh new content, I've been going back and deleting the old stuff because I just wanted a fresh restart to the channel. And that's what the team here at Bad Drivers of Napa Valley have decided to do. So, of course, we're now called Bad Drivers Caught on DashCam, but nonetheless, I think we're now on 2016 for the old content that we're reposting. So we were talking about this, and I think in terms of reposts, we're going to stop when we reach the end of 2016 of the old clips. I don't think we're going to go further with that, any further with the reposts. Reason being is I think we have a pretty good representation of 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21 with the worst of compilations. So beyond 2016, if you want to go back and revisit old content, just watch our worst of series, 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And I don't think there's really any need for us to keep rehashing stuff between 2017 and 2021 or 2020. Whenever it was we started our reboot. I don't know. Life has been a blur, let me tell you. So that's, yeah, I don't want to get too repetitive there. We do, yeah, see, that's the other thing. It just takes a long time to do all that. It was daunting as it is to do what we did. So, yeah, I think once we hit 2017, that'll be it for the repost, and then we'll just be entirely fresh new content. What I did have planned, though, was I did have 2 compilations of the old stuff, of like the worst intersections. the worst spots for getting cut off. I thought that would be kind of cool to do that. There's one intersection in particular that's been the worst of all these years, so it's going to be everything from 2000 whatever, whenever we started driving through that intersection up until now. We're going to do a compilation of that intersection, and then there's another spot that's just been the worst for getting cut off in terms of people pulling out of a driveway and not looking. And I think that would make kind of a neat compilation. But that won't be probably for a little while. I don't know, maybe in a month or two we'll do those two compilations. And it's funny because we don't drive through those spots nearly as much as we drive other places, yet that's where we've have historically gotten cut off the most. That just tells you how bad the intersection is. Yeah. So I think that wraps up my update. I don't anticipate a new video coming out this week. We've got way too much going on between work and dealing with post-death stuff. So that's going to pretty much eat up my entire week. But I do plan on getting the next regular compilation out Friday the 22nd. So a week from this Friday, we'll get another one out. And actually, that will be the last repost of old content. So that's video number 21, I think. So video number 21 will be the last of 2016. 2015 seemed to drag on forever. We got so much content in 2015 because I was doing a lot of deliveries. I was just driving a lot, doing those deliveries, and that was crazy. 2015 was just crazy. 2016, not as much stuff, thankfully. So the next video, that'll be it for the reposts. And then after that, all new stuff. I'm looking forward to getting back to a normal, if that makes sense. All right, so I'd like to go ahead and bring in Bad Drivers of the Bay Area. If you don't know about his videos, please go and check his content out. He does great stuff. He dash cams actually not too far from where I live. So I live in Napa. He's down in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. So yeah, he's only half-hour drive or so from where I'm at. I don't drive terribly often on the same freeways that he drives, but occasionally I am down there. And I did put a link in the description of this live stream to his YouTube channel. So, without further ado, let's do it. Let's add him to the stream here. And I believe he is now added. Hello there, Bay Area, Bad Drivers of the Bay Area.
Hey, Napa. How's it going, man? Thanks for having me in.
Doing great. It's great having you, too. Oh, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months, actually. Just some of the stuff I've been capturing. For anyone that's been following my channel, I know I do owe you guys an apology. I haven't posted any actual full compilations in quite some time. Just life has been kind of crazy that way, and I know it's been mostly the kind of one-off, really egregious stuff like the hit and run, and of
Yeah.
course the other guy we'll talk about later. But I do intend on getting back into that. Um,
Yes.
I know I've been slacking on that, but yeah, just with
No
the way life
worries.
goes, and you know, you've got limited time, especially when kids are involved,
Oh,
to do what
speaking.
you want to do when you sit down and get in front of a computer. So I've been doing a lot of my sim racing that I've been doing for
Yep.
probably the last, I don't know, 20 or so years, and I got a pretty much a full sim rig that I'm actually sitting in right now as I talk to you to
Yeah.
do that in, and
Nice.
and just other hobbies, and then of course just other responsibilities have come up with kids being in school and stuff like that. But I do plan on getting back into those compilations, just because some of it's stuff that like I wouldn't necessarily post by itself because it's not anything egregious, but it's still stuff you want to point out and just kind of
Oh yeah.
publicly shame some of this behavior. So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
speaking of kids and everything, I was going to have DashCam Extraordinaire join us. Are you familiar with his
Oh yeah,
channel? Oh, okay,
absolutely.
you know who he is. Because I believe he knows who you are, and he wanted me to tell you hi. I was texting
Yeah,
him. Um, we were just kind of quick updates with each other.
yeah. I
You know,
think
I
we were on
haven't.
a stream together. I think it was he was in with us. I think
Yeah,
Dallas was in with us too. Yeah.
Dallas, yeah, I think was in with us as well. But he said to say hi, and he was unable to join us tonight. You know,
Ah.
he's got the same thing. You know, he's got family life, and
Yep.
he says he feels bad about that. But I always remind him, don't feel bad about that.
Oh no.
Family always comes first. So don't
Absolutely.
worry about it. We don't judge. The Dashcam community does not judge if you have other things going on in your life. It's just is what it is. You know,
Yep.
uh, s-
Absolutely.
uh, being a family guy is something a person should be proud of, and
Oh yeah.
that's the main thing. That's absolutely the main thing. Um, so one of the things we're going to talk about, actually, our main topic was road rage, and
Hmm.
I've kind of got a little outline of approaching this topic today. I want
Okay.
to start with j- just talking about how things have changed from when I started driving back in 1996. I think 1996 is when I got my learner's permit, and then I got my license in 97. Pretty sure that's I'm numbering the years correctly on that.
All right.
But things have changed. People are more hostile now. I noticed that, you know, this whole
Yep.
honking habit that I've had since day one because I learned to drive in the city, and when you learn
Yeah.
to drive in a big city, that's just kind of how
Yep.
it's just second nature to honk the horn at people, just to
Sure.
get their attention. And hey, you cut me off. I'm right here. Blah blah blah. And I noticed that back then, people didn't lash out when you would honk at them. I
No.
never got flipped off. I never even got flipped off or even got dirty looks, you know, in the first, you know, 5 years or so of honking the horn. And I've noticed that as time has gone on, people have gotten more sensitive to it, to being honked
Yes.
at.
That's a good word to use.
They become more sensitive, and they take it as a bruise to their ego
Yep.
when you honk at them. And what I wanted to say is that it's interesting how in the California vehicle code, it actually requires a driver to honk their horn when honking the horn may have a positive outcome to a hazardous situation.
Yep.
So it does explicitly state must sound the horn to ensure forget the exact wording, safe operation of your vehicle, which basically means if honking the horn may help a dangerous situation, you're required to honk it.
Yep.
So, and I point out to people it says must, not may.
Yes. That is a important
Completely
distinction.
important distinction there.
Yep.
And so it is the law. And some of us take our honking a bit further, like I do. You know, I do like to point out when someone makes a mistake
Sure.
on the road, just as I appreciate it when people honk at me when I make a mistake. Um, whether the person I'm honking at appreciates it or not, that's where the problems
Right.
can happen. And so, unfortunately, there's become a risk to honking the horn at people. It's become a very real risk. A lot of
Oh
a
yeah.
huge uptick in road rage attacks, shootings. Um, gosh, it seems like Highway 580's been a not 580, Highway 4 maybe between Antioch and
That's four. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, 4,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's like a lawless wasteland out there. It's like
Yeah, it's
I see people
crazy. Just
flying by me. You
so many
know.
shootings.
Yeah. All the shootings, just the hit and runs, all sorts of stuff. Whenever I take there, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get
Yeah.
far to the right as I can, but not to where I'm, dealing with mergers. So maybe in like the
Right.
number 3 lane, and I'm just gonna just hold my ground, but not,
Yeah.
try to be in anyone's way, because it's just,
Exactly.
you never see CHP out there. It's crazy.
And so with our honking, there is a very real risk associated with that. And
Oh yeah,
if you're going to honk at people for making mistakes, you have to be willing to accept the consequences of what that may be. And I've accepted the potential consequences. That said, I'm more strategic about it. I might, I don't know. Like some may say, choose your battles, decide who you're going to honk at and who you're not. If it looks like they could become violent or you get bad vibes, don't do it or whatever. But I, I think the main thing is in my uh, risk strategy with honking at people is I always make sure I leave myself an out so that I can get away quickly if needed,
sure.
and always have my phone ready to dial 911 in a heartbeat, which I can because with these newer cars you can just speak to your car, say
Exactly.
call 911, and then it does exactly what you tell it to do.
Yep. Or,
And
hey Siri or hey Alexa, they'll,
yeah,
phone will do it for you. And
exactly. And so
yeah,
you just have to be willing to accept the consequences if you're going to do it. And like I said, I have accepted the potential consequences, and I know it can have devastating consequences if I honk the wrong person.
sure.
Um, but as of now, I'm keeping my habits. But so that so then of course that brings us to some of the incidents that you and I have had with people
Hmm.
getting out of our cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had one recently. I had one not too long ago, but let's start with yours. Um, and we can talk about how to handle road rage incidents in the moment, and then maybe after that we can talk about how to handle road rage incidents after the fact, like
Sure.
in dealing with the police or the person's boss if they happen to be driving a
Hmm.
company vehicle, or in your case, he was wearing a Bart shirt that had a Bart logo on it,
Right.
and people quickly identified him as an employee of Bart. So should I go ahead
Yeah.
and show the clip, or did you want to mention it before, talk about it before I bring it up?
Yeah. I'll kind of give a little bit of preface to it, just to explain, where I was mentally, just because there's been a lot of speculation, even when I
Yeah,
show what led up to the whole incident. How I perceived it as not having any kind of interaction with the guy.
yeah,
But there's lots of people that'll try to say, oh well, you must have actually, done this or done that, and it's like, nope. Here's what actually, was going
yeah,
through my mind, or where my mental state was if I was, looking for someone to honk at or whatever. It's just,
yeah.
um, so I was actually that day. It was a awesome day. I was out with my kids. We had gone bike riding and just
Huh.
had a good day. We ended up getting home, and my youngest was tired. She wanted to stay home, and we had some shopping to do. And my oldest actually almost didn't come with me, but I actually insisted, because we were trying on shoes and clothes, and I didn't want to have to do the whole buy something and then return it if it doesn't fit routine. I wanted her to try it on there, and so I insisted she come along, and it ended up being fun though. We found her some awesome new stuff for school. She had a picture day coming up, so we got her cool new outfit. We were feeling good. It's like, all right, let's go make one last trip over to Lowe's, and I'll get some stuff for a
Hmm.
project I had at home, and then we'll be good to go. We'll head home. We had dinner plans, all sorts of stuff. So it was a good day. I was in, perfectly, yeah, I think you can even hear me at the beginning. Like
Yeah.
my daughter said something, and I laughed, and we were just having a funny little conversation. Something had to do with her sister, I think. um, and just I was in a good place, and I did see the guy. You'll see him at the beginning of the video. That there was speculation that, oh, he thought I needed to let him out. I don't think that was necessarily the case. So I don't think there was any. I don't think we were aware of each other, besides just knowing that, oh, there's a white SUV there. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything like, oh, that guy's going to be mad because I didn't let him out. Because I I'm in that that shopping center a lot, and if you let people out, then you give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile, and there's going to be someone
Yeah.
behind him that wants out, and you're just going
Yeah.
to end up holding up now the people behind you. So it seems pretty well known, if you frequent that shopping center, you got to go. If your light's green, you keep your right away,
Yeah.
and you're good to go. So that never even factored into it. Plus, the guy was next to me at that entire red light, and I sped things up a little bit. In reality, we were sitting there for quite a while. So if
Yeah.
the guy was ticked off about it, judging by his uh, future behavior, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he would have rolled a window down and he would have said something to me if he thought, "Oh, you should have let me out."
Yeah.
So I don't think that was a factor at all. And then we're making that turn, and there's those three left turn lanes, and I was watching him because people in his position, as you'll see, they like to be in that middle lane because they can get up further, but they don't realize that, oh, now they've got to get over two lanes to get on the freeway, whereas the lane I was in was like the only one that actually has access directly to the freeway. So I was
Yeah.
watching him, waiting for him to put on his signal, and I would have let him right over, which
Yeah.
is kind of the ironic thing. Like, if he had actually, I mean, if he had done things right, he would have stayed behind me.
Yeah.
And this never would have happened because he would have just been behind me and he would have been in the right place. But if he had, as we're turning, if he had signaled to get over, then he'd get over and we'd be good. But it was the fact that he didn't do that, that then he ended up actually blocked by my A pillar there, and I didn't see him. And then that's what led to the honk, because he just kind of came out of nowhere. And that's what I kind of wanted to say about picking your battles and choosing
Right.
who to honk at. But sometimes you don't have that luxury. Sometimes they
Exactly.
they swoop in on you and you're surprised by them. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you gave me all indication that you know I I'm in that shopping center probably weekly. If I'm going to Kohl's, or I'm going to um, there's a Wingstop over there. There's the dollar store. There's lots of places in there that we frequent, and so I'm making that turn quite often. And 99 times out of 100, I would say, if someone's in his position, they really want to get on the freeway.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but every time someone doesn't signal and try to cut all the way over, it usually means they're going straight. So I was just going off of just prior knowledge of how people usually act. And so that's why it was just such a shock that all of a sudden he comes swooping in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where people are watching the video, and of course it's the old wide angle lens on the dash cam that
Yep.
deceives
Yep.
them, and they fall for the oh, there was so much room, there's plenty of room. It's like, well,
Yeah,
you
that's
got
why I
to keep
made that
them.
one video to
Yep.
demonstrate that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's just kind of where I was. Like, there was no malintent. I wasn't like, okay, that guy, blah, blah, because there's no reason for me to have any problem with him
Right.
at all, up until he got out of his car. I wasn't even mad when he cut me out. That's why I was just like, "Are you serious? Like, really? You just
Yeah.
did that?" And if he had done what his passenger wanted him to do and stayed in the car, then we wouldn't have had a problem. But
Yeah, we should point out that one of your viewers had noticed, I think it was car cam clips, I
hmm
think said something about that if you look really carefully, it's really easy to miss and it's hard to see that
yeah,
she reaches and grabs his arm as he's
yes,
about to exit the vehicle to
hmm
trying to talk him into staying in the vehicle, which
yep,
is a smart thing to do because
right,
had he done that to somebody violent or more violent
hmm
than him, he could have gotten shot.
yep,
That is
or
how people get shot or hurt.
I mean, this being California, that's usually pretty unlikely, but you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
pretty
he totally
unlikely,
could have
but
gotten shot, or he could have had a MMA fighter that's
yeah,
beats people up for a living and
exactly.
gets out, and that guy didn't really look like he might be able to hold his own against someone who knows how to
Yeah.
fight.
I mean, from his
So
point of view, for all anybody knows, you could be going up against somebody a lot more skilled or
yep,
armed than you.
exactly.
That's always
Or
something to be aware of.
I could have had pepper spray or pepper gel or
Yeah.
mace, or and he'd be sitting there with his car sitting there on the on ramp, and he'd be
Yeah.
screaming with his eyes burning.
Exactly, exactly. This is why I would never get out of the car to confront
No,
somebody, ever.
no.
I might just yell at him from the inside of the car, but I'm not getting
Yeah,
out. I'm absolutely not getting
That's
out.
just, yeah, that is like a no go. Like the moment you get out, you're just like when I moment I saw that door open, I was just like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding me?"
Oh yeah, that was my reaction. I'll play that
Yeah.
clip as well. Yeah, so as you can see, I've started screen sharing. So this is
Yep.
on Bad Drivers of the Bay Area's channel. This is his video. I haven't hit play yet, but I'm just about to. So let's go ahead and hit play. The sound is up. I just want to make sure the sound. Oh, I want to make sure that. Were you able to hear sound when I opened this live stream?
Yeah, there was a lot of background noise, and then I heard there was like an audio clip that was playing. It was a little muffled, but I could hear it. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure you guys can. Okay, this should play the sound, so here it goes. Okay, there's the guy on the right there,
Yep.
and
And
there
there
is
he is
me.
behind me, and then
Uh-huh.
now he's next to me.
Mm-hmm. Is there sound, by the way?
There is, yeah. I just
Oh,
heard.
good.
I just heard it.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So here we go.
And right
Get,
here, that's where I was waiting for him to signal, and he never did. So I was like, all right. And
yeah.
now I can't see him at all. I still can't see him. There, now I can see him.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That was pretty close. I mean, that was
Yeah.
within a couple feet of your bumper. Okay, listen carefully,
Back in
everybody.
your car, sir. Get back in your car, sir.
Come on, nigga. You want some?
I would like you to get
That's
back
where
in your
I start,
car.
motherfucker.
You need to calm down,
Oh,
dude.
nigga, what's up then, nigga?
Get back in your car.
Wow.
Shut the fuck up.
Lights green.
Shut the fuck up.
Wow.
Fuck you up in front of your kids, motherfucker.
Wow. You're on camera, by the way. Good job.
And right as he looked back, I pointed at the camera too.
Yeah. And if anybody didn't notice what he said, he threatened to F you up in front of your kids.
Yes. That was where he went from just being an annoyance to someone I knew I had to
Yes.
report to the authorities, especially a little bit later on what he ended up doing. That it didn't actually end up amounting to anything, so that I didn't really feel like including it and then having to explain this or that.
Yeah.
But
I think
he ended up,
handled it. Mhm.
I was behind him, and then he ended up pulling off to the side of the freeway. Like, I don't know if he thought I was like following him or something.
Yeah.
And then that's when I ended up calling 911. I was like, all right, well, this guy apparently wants to be behind me.
Yeah.
And, I ended up taking some exits. And then I got on the line with CHP. And
Yeah.
that's when they were taking forever to like get to where I could give him a plate. And so there was at one point where I kind of changed course to get behind him and get his plate. And then he got over again onto the side of the road, and I was just like at that point like, all right, well, I can read his plate in my rearview mirror. So
Yeah.
um I'm like, wasn't sure exactly what was better, to have him in front of me thinking I'm following him or behind me, and if he's following me. But once I was talking to PD, they actually told me to kind of set course for Concord Police Station.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he just ended up turning into the Sun Valley Mall, and I just kept going.
And probably terrorizing somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say so. Let's talk about handling road rage incidents in the moment. I think you did a fantastic job. There was
you.
the de-escalation going on, number one.
Yep.
And this is something, if any of you guys aren't familiar with, there's a YouTuber by the channel name of Active Self-Protection. He is a self-defense expert.
Hmm.
And, let me post a link in the sidebar chat so you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's called Active Self-Protection. He plays surveillance videos, occasionally, once in a while, a dash cam video, and he dissects the incidents and talks about what the person did right, what they did wrong, better self-defense strategies. He definitely believes in legally arming yourself for self-protection or carrying pepper spray, which I think is great. I just posted a link there in the sidebar. So active self-protection. There are some rather disturbing videos on there. So viewer discretion is advised. There are quite a few videos showing people getting mortally wounded, and he calls it the asphalt temperature challenge. When somebody dies, when somebody's shot dead, he calls it the asphalt temperature challenge.
That is one.
But
That's
what
one
he
way to put it.
says, yeah, he's a very smart guy. He's very responsible, I think, in his advice. And what his main takeaway, the main takeaway, is that you are the primary agent in your own rescue.
Yep.
And what that means is it takes the police a while to get there. Police will very rarely ever be there instantly, and you usually won't have anybody else to help you from the outset of a potentially violent situation. So you are your own agent in your own rescue. So it's up to
Yep.
you. Unfortunately, it's all on you to figure out how you're going to get out of it once you're in it. And that's of course why I point out that although I am a horn honker and I accept the risk of horn honking,
Sure.
we do have to accept the potential consequences of that. Only honk the horn at people for making, for being idiots, if you are willing to accept the potential ramifications of what kind of reaction you may get from that person.
Right.
And I think even more importantly, try to leave yourself an out. Now, a couple of people pointed it out as well as I did, and I know that it's easier said than done sometimes, because he stopped pretty quickly. He didn't really give you a chance to leave space between you and him
Right.
to
Yeah, he stopped pretty
exit the
short, so that's
situation.
why I did end
Yeah,
up a little closer than I would have liked. Thankfully, there was nobody behind me for the entire time, and I
yeah,
had been aware of that. Once he opened the door, I glanced behind me and saw there's no one back there, and so I was pretty ready to throw it in reverse, and as fast as I needed to, I'd be able to
yeah.
back down that on ramp,
Oh,
and then
couple
um,
more things.
mhm,
Is one of them is always watch their hands.
right,
Always keep a close eye on their hands. If they exit their vehicle, keep a very close eye on their hands. This is another thing I learned from watching Active Self-Protection. Obviously, his body language and how he carried himself once he exited the vehicle is pretty alarming. So it definitely, I definitely wouldn't put it past somebody with that amount of aggression to become violent instantly.
sure,
And I'd be watching their hands very closely. If he even begins reaching for something, I'm reaching for the reverse gear
right,
if I can't
oh
steer
yeah,
around him, or steer around if you
yep,
can. So my advice to everybody listening is if you're going to honk at somebody and you come to a stop behind that person, whether it's because of a red light, traffic, or a stop sign, leave yourself some space between yourself and the person in front of you so that you can book it out of there quickly. And of course, be very aware of your surroundings. Check your mirrors really quick. Make sure there's nobody behind you, that you're not going to run
hmm
into anybody or back over somebody walking behind you, and get the heck out of there if you can. Well, even if they're acting aggressive in that manner, they don't even have to be reaching for something
right,
for it to be to do everything you can to get out of the situation. If he's reaching for something, watch closely to see what he's reaching for. If he's pulls a weapon, well, yeah, then the things become trickier. So then it becomes imperative that you leave immediately the
yes.
situation. And whatever you do, do not get out of your car.
No, never. Because
Don't get
now
out of your car.
you've basically just gone down to their level. The thing I've always kept in mind is now, whatever's going to happen if you get out of that car, it's not good.
Right. Of
You
course,
guys
if you
aren't going to have a talk and then shake hands later. I mean,
no, you're
it's
not going to hug it out.
possible, but it's not likely.
You're not
And
going to
then
hug.
once, yeah, once PD gets involved, once law enforcement's involved, the one thing they're going to ask you is, well, why'd you get out of your car?
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're just as culpable for what happened as that guy is.
Well, another thing I want to point out is if you feel your life is in danger, and of course you have to have a legit threat to your life, in order to do this. But your car is a weapon too.
True.
So if you don't have a firearm, if you don't have pepper spray, it may be better,
Hmm.
even if you did have those weapons, it may be better to just run the person over. And it's unfortunate, but you may have to. If you feel your life is in danger, you have
Sure.
no escape. So you have to first not have an escape route. And I'm not a lawyer, so anybody listening, don't just take me at my word. All right?
Yeah.
I'm not liable for anything I'm saying here. I'm just telling you guys listening that if my understanding of self-defense laws is if you feel if you feel your life is in danger and you have no way out of the situation, you have no escape. Your only out is running over the guy or he could kill you. Then you got to mow him down. You got to do
Right.
what you have to do to save your life because
Or
it's either
if
him
you,
or it's either you or him.
yeah, or if you do have a route of escape, but he is between you and that route of escape, then
Right.
because if
Right.
I could see like, okay, well, you could have gone around him maybe, like if there's room on the shoulder and you could go around it, but if he's standing right where you
Yeah.
would need to be to get away from him, then yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
how
I don't
that could
see
be
any jury um upholding a conviction. But if you had an escape route, there's no way you're getting acquitted if you do run him over.
right.
So yeah, we're just getting into very delicate legal territory here, discussing all this. Hopefully, none of us will ever have to be in that situation.
Yes.
But, if you could legally carry a gun, do it as long as you're a responsible gun owner. I don't believe in irresponsible individuals owning firearms.
No.
I believe you have to be like active self-protection. The guy John Correa is the host of that show, and as long as you are a safe, moral, and prudent individual, you're of a sound mental status
Sure.
and you're competent under pressure. Then yeah, keep yourself strapped legally.
Well, that is
But
the thing in California is if you want to legally have your firearm in the car, it isn't going to be anywhere you can use it. That is the problem.
yeah.
It's basically got to be in your trunk. So
Yep. Yeah, that's right. It's a little crazy though, because not only when you're carrying a firearm in your vehicle, according to the law, it has to be in your trunk in a locked case,
right.
unloaded,
Yes.
and the ammunition has to be stored separately outside of the trunk, like somewhere in the glove box, somewhere where you can't reach it, but it's
Right.
also not in the same compartment. That's a little overkill in my opinion, honestly.
And
I
you're supposed
think
to only be carrying or transporting it to take it somewhere. Like you have to be on
right.
your way to the range or on your way
Right.
to have it serviced. You can't just have it in your. Although I don't know how they would be able to show that you were,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't know. I think that's a little overkill to be totally honest with
right.
you. Um,
Because how do you enforce that? Like,
my
it was in
my
my car. How do you know I'm not going to the
yeah,
range or
and
yeah.
'09 CVPI, he's absolutely right. Use your car as a weapon if that's your only option to make it home alive.
Yep.
Um, and my wife and I are thinking about eventually moving to a state that has the most relaxed gun laws. And I'm definitely very big on Second Amendment carry. I'm very big on that. I'm very big
Yep.
on you know, of course, as long as you're abiding by the law, you're responsible with your weapon and all that.
Right.
And but what I like about the state we're thinking about moving to is I don't think that their gun laws are pretty loose, pretty relaxed, and they don't have a problem with gun violence. There's
Amazing how that
really
works.
there's really not much of a problem with it there. Probably because an armed society is a safer society.
Exactly.
It could be that.
If the criminal with a gun is thinking, well, my intended
Person
victim
I'm
might have
robbing.
one of their own,
Yeah.
then they're a lot less likely to go ahead with it. Whereas here in California, they're pretty, they're going to be pretty sure that you don't have one, but they still do because they're a criminal and they're not following the law. So it's like, these laws that are supposed to keep guns out of the wrong hands, all they're doing is keeping them out of the hands of the people who would actually need them. So
Yeah, yeah. So I'd say amen to that, 09 CVPI. I'm a strong believer in the second as well.
yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know, California's got such a huge problem with gun violence, and yet it's very difficult for a law-abiding citizen to get a gun.
Yep.
And I think that's a shame. I mean, yeah. California. I know what you mean. This one reason why we want out of here. Some of the politics are just ridiculous here.
Yep.
In California. But so anyway, so yeah, I think you did fantastic handling the road rage incident with that guy.
Thank you.
But let's talk about, I'm kind of curious. So just for everyone out there listening, after he posted the video, the perp was quickly identified. Very quickly. He was
Yes.
even doxxed. Somebody posted his name even in the
Yeah.
in the comments, and I did.
Yeah.
I admit that I did copy and paste his name and do a little digging just to see what I could find.
Oh
But
yeah, I did too.
I was
but,
curious. I was kind of curious, but I don't blame you for taking his name down. But so he was identified as indeed a BART employee, and
yes.
from what I know, BART has seen the video, and they're, I don't know much beyond that, and I know that you said that there was some stuff you weren't at liberty to discuss. But what
Right.
can you discuss? What are you able to tell us?
Pretty much what has already been said. Some of the things I was told by my contact were off the record, and they did need to remain that way. But yeah, it was basically that jacket that he was wearing was kind of his downfall. If he hadn't been wearing that, I don't see
Yeah,
necessarily how anybody would have identified him, unless just somehow these guys that did recognize him just happened to be viewers of my channel. That would
yeah,
have been pretty funny. But
yeah,
it all came from somebody on Reddit submitting a link of the video to the BART board of directors, and so it wasn't even myself. I knew at least he needed to be held accountable by law enforcement, but I at first didn't really feel like it needed to go as far as telling his employer.
right,
Um, but in the long run, I feel like what I can say, I feel like it'll have hopefully a positive impact for him.
yeah,
Just because of what I do know about BART as far as what they can offer, as far as when their
yeah,
employees are having issues. So
right,
because he was definitely having issues.
yeah, oh
That was
yeah,
the first thing I was thinking was just like embarrassment for him. Like I was obviously a little worried here, especially having my kid in the car, that he was going to try to do something physical.
right,
But for the most part, it was just this overall feeling of embarrassment. Like that's why you can kind of hear in my voice. I was like, dude, get back in your car. Like he's
yeah,
saying, you want to go? I'm like, no, I want you to get back in your car because this is
yeah,
just not a good look for you. This is not, because I knew he was on camera. I don't think he really realized that maybe until the end if he saw me point at it. But I don't think it ever came into his mind that he was being recorded, which these days you really should. I mean, there's cameras everywhere now. Everyone's got one in their pocket, and some people have
yeah.
them
They're
built into
everywhere.
their cars.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that probably surprised him once he got that call from his superiors. Like, what do you
yes,
mean? I would
right.
have loved to be a fly on the wall when he found out.
Yeah.
I,
I was
I'm
just gonna say, I wonder what his reaction was when he found out he
Yeah,
was on
I'm curious
camera.
how they told him, like, hey,
Mhm. Yeah,
we just had this video brought to our attention. Who is
yeah.
this guy?
Are
Looks
are
like
you a
you.
are you able to tell us whether what kind of action they are taking or anything?
I'm not. That's
You're not.
basically the gist of what was off the record is what they're actually doing. Um, so that I can't share.
Yeah. Do
Um,
you think there will come a time in the future where you will be able to, when this is well past us?
I would say so. Yeah. Once whatever does happen is like you said, far behind us, and
Yeah.
um, you know, and he's possibly moved past it. So yeah, it's definitely possible, but I just know I was asked very explicitly from my source to kind of just keep that to myself. So
Yeah. Hey, Rhode Island DashCam. I love his sense of humor, by the way. I featured some of his clips in our compilations. So I'm gonna hop out of my car on Napa and siphon his gas while he's shopping for groceries. Well, hey, I gotta charge you though, because that gas cost me probably $6.30 a gallon, because that's what gas
seriously,
prices are here,
ouch.
up in Napa. $6.30 a gallon is what cost me. So I'm gonna
Mm.
charge you, if you're gonna siphon my gas while I'm shopping for groceries. I'm gonna have to charge you an extra couple dollars just so I can make a little money off that. So if you don't mind. All right, good. He doesn't mind.
Yeah, we're about. I think the last time I put some in, it was about 5:30, which is still pretty
Yeah,
insane.
it's a lot less where you are compared to the North Bay. Jeez, that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
we're up in the sixes up here right now.
gosh.
Oh no! Actually, Mrs. Napa is at work right now. No, I'm kind of doing both. I'm doing double duty. I'm talking and I'm typing and clicking and drinking beer. I got a beer
Nice.
in front of me. I'm drinking Racer 5.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know who brews Racer 5. Oh, Rohnert Park. Oh, that's local. That's a Sonoma County beer. Yep, that's local. I
Nice.
was even thinking about getting up and getting another one. So that kind of brings me to, my next thing is how to handle see, I can't even talk. How to handle a road rage incident after the fact. So this is so I'm kind of getting into the having empathy for people versus seeking justice for the person.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is going to depend, I think, on a lot of different factors, like
Mhm.
what happened, what perspired, what perspired, what perspired.
He might have been perspiring. I don't know.
It might have been perspiring after that.
He got himself pretty worked up, so it's possible.
Yeah, he got himself worked up. I wouldn't be surprised if he was perspiring but yeah, did the guy throw something at your car? Did he punch your window? Did he try to open your door? It just depends on a lot of different things.
Right.
In his case, he didn't punch your car at all, did he?
No. He stayed pretty far away. I mean, the closest you see him is right before he goes out of view. He didn't really get much closer than that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's part of why I was like, I never really felt too much like fear of danger of him doing something, just
Right.
because I
Not
think
an
I
imminent.
right, and I think
Right,
it's because
not an
also
imminent.
I knew the fact that I had nobody behind me and I could just pop it in reverse real quick and floor it, and he's going to be a good 100 feet away from me in a matter of seconds. So
Yeah, yeah.
and then it's like, then what is he going to do? Is he going to run after me? Like now I'm at the bottom of the on ramp, like, and I could have backed up, gone all the way back down to Monument Boulevard, and then I would have had a couple options of where I could go, and he would just be sitting there on the on ramp. So
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of things. I just didn't get a vibe that he was actually going to do something, that he was just all bark and no bite. And then also the fact that I knew that I had an out, even if it wasn't forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think three-dimensionally and not just
Right.
think, oh, I've got to go forward to get away from the guy, because I really didn't have anywhere to go, especially with him being so close.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if he had kept it at the as bad as the stuff he said was before, with N-word and
Yeah.
MFer and all that, for all that, that was just name calling, and it's like, all right, that's just typical bully stuff.
Right,
It was
right.
the last thing he said. That's where I was like, all right, this guy's got to see some kind of consequences, because you're bringing
Yeah.
my kid into it, and
Right. I was going to say you bring your kids into it. That's where
and
that's where
proving he was aware that there was a child in the car too,
Yes, yes.
because
Actually, he could have gone to jail for what he did right there. I mean, technically, if you
sure,
wanna go by the letter of the law, that's making criminal threats. He could have gone to jail for that. And if your kids felt scared at any time, he could have gone to jail on a separate charge for that too. So,
true.
where do you think you would have drawn the line So if I'm just trying to think the next step further. If he had taken it a step further, I don't know how much further would he have had to go before you're like, "Yep, I'm throwing this guy in jail and getting him fired."
I'd say if he had actually either made contact with my vehicle or tried to make contact with me, if he had
Like
approached any
punching it or
further,
something?
right? If he,
Okay.
hit the vehicle, tried to hit me, if there had been any actual like provable intent that of harm, like he
Right.
actually got physical, because as it was, again, he was just all talk.
Right.
If he
Right.
had actually taken it to the next level of actually following through on his threats, then that definitely would have been, where I would draw the line. Um, if it had just been the getting out and name calling, I probably still would have reported him, um,
Yeah.
and posted it. So it was just what he said was what really, like, I might have waited a little while to post it if he hadn't said the last thing.
Yeah.
But it was like that night I was like, all right, I'm gonna spend some time editing this and get this up there
Get
and
this up there.
get this, especially putting it on Reddit. That was like, I had to turn off. I had some, notification settings I had to turn off because I was just getting a flood of
Yeah.
not all of them positive. There were the old the horn gatekeepers, as I like to call them, where it was just, well, you're just as much of an idiot for honking at him. And it's
Oh,
like
yeah, I've
I,
gotten
I
all
just had to
those.
let those just roll off. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
you got to remember there's people on Reddit from all over the world and of all different mental health levels.
Right, right. A lot of it not, at a good mental health level, but yeah.
No. Or, they're 12 and they've never
Or
been
12.
in
They
a
never
car.
driven.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
they're sitting in the back of their mom and dad's car.
Exactly.
um, so I had to take that into account. But yeah, there was a lot of positive stuff too, and there was quite a bit of it, especially the people that were able to identify him and get the word out to those that needed to know.
Right, right, exactly. Someone's Jay Whirl, I screen pinned this. He said, "What about showing the dash cam before they consider trying to fight you?" Here's after having seen hundreds of road rage videos in my lifetime, I've noticed a consistent pattern with what happens when you tell the person road raging at you, "I've got you on camera. I've got you on camera." You know what their reaction usually is? It's usually, "I don't give a fuck."
Exactly. I was going to
That
say
is
they don't care.
usually they will say that. They will say, "I don't give a fuck."
Right.
Well, my response is you will give a fuck when the police are knocking on your
Right.
door, or if your boss
Um,
happens to come across this video.
the only danger you might have, especially if they're very close to you, is you never know, they might try to reach in and take it because now they know you've got proof of what they just did.
True, but
Uh,
it depends, I guess, on where you have it mounted.
True.
Mine are mounted in a spot where it's not easy to reach.
Yeah, he never would have. He would have to be in my car to get, or
I
he'd
would
have to be on the
probably
other side.
just say I've got a camera, but I wouldn't actually point to it or show him where it is.
I felt like I could just because he was already in the process of getting back in, and he
Yeah.
looked back at me. So I'm like, okay, well, I know he's not gonna.
By then, it was
Yeah.
apparent he wasn't going to get back out. And
Although the telling him to calm down, that was
oh,
probably
that
not.
pisses people off sometimes.
Yeah, that probably wasn't like right as the words came out of my mouth. I was like, because he was kind of turning to go back to his car, and then I said it, and that's why you hear him go, "Oh, well," like he was. It was like it reinvigorated him.
Right, right.
And I
I
was like,
know what you
"Oh, that
mean.
probably wasn't the best thing to say."
I learned.
But it's just how I was feeling. I was just like, "Dude, this is."
Yeah.
I just wanted to be like, "This is so embarrassing for you, man. Like, stop. This is not."
I do think I don't think there's anything wrong with telling somebody to calm down. I really don't. I did take a verbal judo course one time, and the verbal judo course was being taught by the chief of police at the time, and so he said, never tell somebody raging to calm down," which it seems counterintuitive. It does seem counterintuitive that
Right.
it wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I
It's not like
mean,
they're gonna say, "You know what? You're right. I do need to calm down.
I don't think
I'm
it's
being unreasonable."
I don't think it's a bad thing to say, though. I don't think it's. I mean, it's It is better than going, "Oh, fuck you too,"
Right.
getting into a rah 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 with them.
Because that's
I
what he
mean,
wanted. I think
that's
that's
what he
also why
wanted.
he got so angry and
And
telling me to shut
sometimes they
up at
get
the
more
end.
pissed when you don't give them what they want too.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you don't engage them, they get pissed. You
Right.
just never know how you're going to win with somebody. I
And to
mean,
me, that's
like,
why the best way to go is just to stay as just calm and as possible, because all that's going to do is make them look that much more
yeah,
crazy. Like if you're a third party and if you're a car next to me watching this and you see this guy get out and yell, and then you
yeah,
look over and the person in the car is just like, get back in your car,
yeah.
you need to stop.
I mean, it's
Then
true.
you still look like an innocent bystander basically, instead of now you're just one of two idiots.
Yeah. And he brings up a good point right here. The mask mandates. People are wearing masks. Although they actually lifted our mask mandates here in California. Thankfully. I'm so
Yes.
glad. Oh my God, I was getting so tired of that. Oh, I'm glad that's behind us. I think
Right.
my opinion is we're all vaxxed. Actually, we have pretty good vaccination rates in Napa County.
Yeah,
Actually,
same here
we're
in
actually
Contra
mostly
Costa.
vaccinated. I'm vaxxed, I'm boosted, I'm good. And I don't think we really need the masks anymore. And so I think they did the right thing by lifting them, but I do still see a lot of people wearing them. And he brings up a good point. When somebody's got a mask on, they're a little harder to identify on camera. And so they're more likely to get away with stuff. So
That is true.
that's that.
That is true.
But so, yeah, so the empathy first versus justice. So, okay, for all of you guys listening, where do you guys draw the line with, okay, you got into a road rage incident with somebody. Where do you guys draw the line with having empathy and either letting it go entirely, or, well, I mean, there's like a few different ways you could do this. Having empathy, but maybe talking to their boss. This is assuming they did this in a company vehicle or they're wearing a logo on their shirt,
Hmm.
and you're able to tell that they work for a specific company, and just contacting their boss saying, "Hey, this is what happened. I don't want this guy fired. I'd like him to get some
Right.
help." Um, or at what point do you contact the company and demand that they get fired, or call the police and have them arrested? Obviously there has to be a crime committed before their arresting happens, but
Sure.
just where do you guys all draw the line between empathy and justice versus justice? Letting things go versus not letting things go. I mean, there's a lot of different factors there, so it's
Yeah.
may not be such a cut and dry black and white thing to answer, but it's a good thing to think about.
Oh, definitely.
I think it's an important thing to think about.
The way I was looking at it was, and I think it was even brought up other places, is it didn't happen at his workplace. He wasn't in an actual official capacity as a BART employee. He just happened to be dumb enough to get out of his car and confront someone wearing
Right.
a very, identifiable logo. Um, if he hadn't been wearing that,
Right.
this doesn't go nearly as far as it did, and he would probably still wouldn't know that he was on camera.
Yeah.
Um, but for him to get fired, that was something I, had to make sure that I let the powers that be know that that wasn't what I was looking for. That wasn't
Right.
the end game of me posting it. Like it never even came into my head like, oh, I'm going to post this and get this guy fired. That was never a goal.
Oops.
Especially once I found out that he's not only as a wife but children
Right.
as well, who were, I believe, in his car at the time. Just putting that out there. I think you can see them in the back, um, which is just kind of disturbing as well. Like, I just can't
Yeah.
even imagine. Oh, Dad's getting out of the car again to yell at somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be when I do see people getting fired for things that are caught on camera, it does again depend on what they did. If someone gets out of or if someone's at a restaurant, like I've seen those where they go on like a racist tirade and calling people this and that. I mean, it it should definitely be up to the employer. It shouldn't be like they should just be made aware of it. I don't think people should be going out with pitchforks saying you better fire this guy.
Right.
It should just be more of, hey, this guy works for you. Just wanted to let you know this is what he did, and that's it. And let
Yeah.
them
let them
take it from
figure out
there.
what they need to do.
Right.
Now, bad drivers in North Central Maryland. I don't know if you can see the comments I'm pinning on the screen here. Oh yeah,
Yes.
there it is. Okay. He makes a good point. Bad drivers in North Central Maryland makes a good point. I think it's better that this incident didn't happen at his workplace or while he was on duty, but I think that it does still matter that he was wearing a shirt with the company logo, because it is a reflection of the company when you're going out. It's like driving a company vehicle with your logo on it. You may not be
Sure.
at work or on the clock, but you're still representing your company to some degree.
Right.
And I can tell you this, as an employer myself, I own my own company. And if any of my employees were gallivanting around town, in our company car or with our company shirt with my logo on it, and they are accosting people aggressively, threatening them, and just acting crazy in public, that
Right.
looks bad on me. That looks bad on my company, because then people would be like, "Geez, what kind of people does this guy hire to work for him?"
Right.
You know what I mean? So, because BART is a really big company, and the bigger you are, the more employees you have, I think the more they can sort of get away with not firing employees who act like this, because they figure,
Sure.
you have this many employees, you're pretty likely to have one bad apple somewhere in there
Yeah.
that's going to be doing things. And so
Right.
one out of 200 or 1,000 or however many employees they have shouldn't make a huge impact on the company. So maybe we don't need to fire him. But for someone like me who, might just have 5 or 6 employees,
Sure.
if one of them is acting crazy out there, that's a bigger reflection, I think, on my company, because I'm a smaller company. I'm a mom and pop company. I'm not a big old
Mm.
corporation. And so I cannot have any of my employees doing that stuff. And
Agreed.
I think if I was in that position, for me, that would be grounds for firing. I think, unless I was a bigger company, unless I had like 100, 200, 300, or 400 employees. If I was bigger, if I had a lot more employees, then that I would not have fired that guy. I probably would have done like you were seeking to do, just have him get some help. And that's probably what I
Exactly.
would have done. Now, regardless of the size of my company and how much of a reflection it would be on me, if he had been acting that way before, if this was, say, the second time this had happened or the third time this had happened, then I'd
Yeah.
probably fire him at that point, regardless, because it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
gave you a chance once, try to get you help. You didn't, you didn't sustain the your level of reform,
Right.
your behavior reform, and then you went out and did it again. And I can't.
Yeah.
This is a bad reflection on me, and I've got to
Yeah.
let
Because
you
if it's
go.
happened in the past, then it's like, okay, if you weren't fired, you were at least given a
Yeah,
talking to. And if you
exactly.
did it again, then yeah, that is definitely a different story.
So, it just depends on a lot of different factors, how big
Sure.
of a company you are. And yeah, because if you're a small company like I am, one employee acting like that can ruin your entire reputation, and that's suicide. Well, not suicide, but homicide for your business.
Yeah.
That just kills your business right there.
And BART has bigger problems of its own that keep people from wanting to ride.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. They've got other things that have maybe sort of plagued their reputation over the years,
yeah.
like the shooting, the BART officer that shot instead of grabbing his taser.
Right.
Remember that one a long, long time ago?
Yes.
I forgot the victim's name, but it was a big story for a long time.
Oscar Grant.
Oscar Grant, and I think the BART officer was actually a Napan. I think he was from my town.
Oh well. Yeah, they
Yeah,
even
I
made a
think
movie about
he
that
was.
with I believe it was Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, yeah,
Fruitvale Station. Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, so BART has much bigger problems to
Oh
deal
yeah.
with. I know. Like I say, the shootings, stabbings, all the crime in the Bay Area has just skyrocketed. Oh
yeah.
my God. It's gotten so bad. It's gotten so bad, the crime. The shootings, the robberies, the break-ins. It's
Yeah, it's getting to
crazy.
be, there's certain places that members of my family don't want to go
Yeah.
because especially all this violence against the Asian community has just been
Yeah, that too.
skyrocketing so much. And
Mm-hmm.
there's places where a couple years ago they said, "Oh, we're going to go down to the shop or the bakery for this and that," and now it's like, nope, if you're going to go, you're at least not going without me.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not letting you go, by yourselves, especially with the kids.
yeah.
It's too much going
I
on.
know what you mean. I'm gonna find a couple more videos here, a couple more road rage videos. Let me go to my channel. 'Cause I wanted to talk about a couple of these. Okay, I want to play this Neanderthal that got out of his car. Actually, it's Neanderthal, not thal. I don't know why I always mispronounce that. But I got to get past this ad, of course.
All right.
Freaking ads, right? Okay.
Sounds like my kids when they're watching their
I know.
YouTube videos. Ad.
Yeah, it's not another ad. All right, screen share. I got to do the screen share thing. I'm going to go through a few of these so we can maybe, let's see. Okay, Chrome tab. Road Rage Fool. Okay, share. All right, I think I'm sharing now. All right, let's play the video. This is the star of our show. High-strung but not well-hung Henry. High-strung but not well-hung Henry. Henry doesn't understand how four-way stops work. You stop before everyone else, you go. It's your turn. He just kept missing these chances to go. It was his turn all along. First honk.
I remember this guy.
And still not going. It's like he puts the car in park and gets out to show me his Christmas spirit. And his IQ. So it's like, what the hell is he pissed about? But I don't have time for any more of his nonsense, so I decided to exit the parking lot a different way. I thought he was just going to keep sitting there. I should have, I don't know, I should have gone around him on the right or something instead of going all the way around. So watch how he waits till I'm almost out of the parking lot before he takes off.
Wow.
It's like he was doing that on purpose. And this is the last I ever saw of this miserable prick.
And if it had been reversed, if you were sitting there, he would have honked at you.
Yeah, exactly. Like what the hell? I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, pissed off Jesus. I know I got a lot of Jesus comments on that one.
And just like with my guy, I'm sure if I had done what he did to me, he would have honked.
Sure.
And he probably would have gotten out of his car and yelled at me for doing that.
Yeah. Now this guy, of course, wasn't driving a company vehicle, so there was nothing there, but nothing with that. But it was. Fortunately, he didn't take it any further than that. But as soon as I saw him getting out of his car, I'm like, oh, Jesus, what? What now? It's like, come on. People really are becoming more unhinged. And now, interestingly, I had a road rage incident in that same spot by this young woman. I'm going to play this. You guys might remember this. I've got it up on the screen already, so I got to go back to my screen share function. Now, by the way, did the audio play on that clip pretty good?
Yeah, that was perfect.
It was perfect. Could you hear me talking as well?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So nothing was muffled. It was all clear.
Yeah, that was all good.
Good. Just want to make sure. So I'm going to screen share this next one here. This was I don't know, a couple months before that. And here we go. The butt hurt is real with this one. This intersection you've seen before is rife with drivers running the stop signs. It's so bad, you'll see people straight up running stop signs here every 7th or 8th car. So she blew the stop sign while speeding, and she went way out of turn. Now Granted, she didn't get in my way.
She's pissed that I called her out for her selfish driving.
Except for here.
She stops in the street to punish me. At this point, I realize how mentally unstable she is.
She's in too big of a hurry to stop at a stop sign, but she'll stop in the middle of the road.
Exactly.
Here. But then this guy unexpectedly appears, and I quickly abandon my escape.
I was
Back
gonna
to
go
him
around
in a
her, but-
second. I was relieved to see that she was turning off, although she hasn't finished with me yet. As soon as I go by, she honks again.
Nobody's ever
stops,
finished with me.
and gets beeped at by this driver.
So she's laying on the horn now.
And then she pulls alongside me, starts yelling, and lays on the horn, but I completely ignore her. And there she goes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was about it for that one.
Wow.
You know, I had no reason to honk at her other than to say, "Hey, you just ran that stop sign," because she didn't impact my movements in any way. But still, I'm
Yeah,
like,
you'd get blown away by the Redditors.
oh yeah, absolutely. No, I did not feature that one on Reddit.
No.
But so yeah, I know that John Correa of Active Self Protection would have told me, you know, bad idea to honk at her, and you know,
Right.
he's not wrong, but you know, again, it's I chose my battle that day, and it was just to let her know that she was being an idiot, and that did start some crap. I mean, I'm definitely not going to sugarcoat it or defend
Sure.
myself. I'm just being real that sometimes I just like to call somebody out on their BS. Simple
Yeah.
as that. Right or wrong, bad
Right.
idea or not. That's what I did. That's what I do sometimes. Let me see here. Now this one does involve a company driver. Let me see if I can find it. This one's okay. I think it was, oh, I know, it was the angry contractor video. This one was interesting because I called his boss. Why am I not seeing that? Okay, I'm searching my own videos and I don't know why it's not pulling it up. I know it's there. Road rage contractor. Is it me or do a lot of contractors seem like very angry people?
Yeah.
Could be
I don't know what's
wrong,
going
but
on there.
it just seems like it sometimes.
It
I
does
used to-
just crack me up though when people do, even if it's not raging, but if they drive like a moron in a company vehicle with a big business
Yeah.
card on the side, it's like, dude, are you
Yeah.
not aware that we can all see all your information?
Yeah. Well, here it is. This is the one with the company driver. Oh, I got to go back to screen share. I keep forgetting. I got to go back and forth between screens, but where is it here? Is this? Yeah, this is it. Okay. Share screen. Here we go. You're about to see some road rage from the driver of this company truck. Estate builders. They're
Before the
actually out of
apparent start of
Concord.
the incident, you can see he's very antsy at this red
You know,
light.
that looked familiar.
Forward.
Does it?
Yeah.
But this is where it looks like the incident starts. He makes a lane change with barely enough space in front of this driver.
So he cuts off that driver. That's what
I don't know
starts
if
this
this
whole
driver
thing.
honked, flipped him
Okay.
off, or what, but the driver in the company truck gets pissed at the guy he cut off, and from my vantage point, it looked to me like he was yelling at the guy he cut off.
Yeah.
What you don't see in the video is it looks like the passenger in this car is holding up a phone, recording the aggressor on video.
Yeah, so they're like yelling at each other.
Oh God.
So I'm gonna pause it real quick because he cut this driver off. This driver, I don't know. I don't think they honked. I don't know what happened, but clearly they weren't happy about being cut off, and this guy wasn't happy about the other driver not being happy about being cut off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not happy
Right.
about not being happy. And this is where I should have minded my own business, but I didn't. I gave the guy a what the F gesture because, well,
Decided to get
How
involved
dare you?
Yeah, how dare
pleasure
I?
for how he was
I
acting.
just, I,
I honked to get his attention,
and I-
looked at him, and gave this gesture.
yeah, the hands.
Then he turns his anger to me,
Yeah.
honks to show his displeasure
did
of
get
being
some-
called out,
You're in his crosshairs now.
yeah,
and then the one-finger salute.
right there, plain as day.
But his dangerous driving doesn't quite end there. Here you can see he changes lanes, unsignaled, into a lane someone is actively merging into.
What a pity. Wow.
And of course, another unsignaled lane change as he gets close to my back bumper.
So he tried to. I think he attempted to swerve into me right there, but I just happened to be exiting, so he didn't have a chance to do that. Because had I not exited, he would have pushed me out of my lane. So that was pretty bad. I did get some crap for even getting involved at all, and that person who called me out was not wrong, of course. I shouldn't have done that, but I have noticed that as I get older, I'm becoming a little more outspoken. So when I see somebody being a complete douche, it's kind of hard to help myself. It's kind
Yeah.
of hard to hold back from calling that person out. When they're being a douche towards somebody, and I know it's not the smart thing to do. But unfortunately, that's just becoming my nature of being a little more outspoken nowadays.
Or you could end up like me, where I, in one instance, was doing absolutely nothing and wasn't
Yeah.
even aware of the guy, and he thought I had a problem with him and got out.
Oh,
and
that's right.
Tried to lecture me about, I was
Yeah.
just so confused that whole time. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, is that a different one I can show?
Yeah, that one's on my channel too. That's it's the white BMW. And the guy got out, and
How long ago was this?
that was not that long ago. That was.
Why am I not remembering? I'm not sure why. You'd think I'd remember that.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
I'll probably. Oh yeah. As soon as I pull it up, I'm sure I'll.
That one was back in December. So it's just called Confronted, but why?
Oh, I see. Oh yeah, I have seen it. I just for some reason don't remember it. I'll play that one next. But before I play it, I just want to say with the incident that I just played, I did call his boss just to let him know what happened,
Mhm.
and apparently the folks in the car he was raging against also called his boss.
Oh, interesting.
So I was the second phone call.
Well, I mean, when you've got your phone number and the name of your business on the side
Right
of
on
your
the side of
car
your
and
truck.
you're
Yeah,
raging at
exactly.
people, it's like you should expect it.
Yeah. And so
Clueless
it,
SoCal asked me
the
about my
the reaction that I got was actually kind of funny when I called his boss, because I told him what happened, and he says, "Yeah, I got a call just a little while ago from somebody who, they were taking pictures of him, and they had their camera up, and they were taking video, and I asked him, I said, well, would you like to see some dash cam video of it? And he says, no. And then I told him what happened and what happened to me. He didn't realize that his employee also raged on me. So I told him exactly what happened. And he's all, oh, damn it. I really need to talk to him about that. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that he's done that before.
right.
That he has a history
He's a
of
repeat
raging
offender.
on people. He's a repeat offender. He just was real frustrated. He says, oh, man, I really need to talk to that guy. Oh. So
Wow.
anyway, that's how that conversation ended. I don't know whatever came of that, but that was yeah, that's a great way to lose one's job. All right, so let's play your confronted but why video.
All right.
All right, here.
Clueless and SoCal was asking how my favorite roundabout is going. I
Ah,
actually don't frequent it hardly at all anymore.
hmm.
Just jobs have changed for people in the family, so
Mhm.
don't end up going over there anymore, thankfully.
Oh, I think that's the roundabout I wanted to check out. I think that's
It's
the one you.
one of the only ones there. I know there's one there, and then there's one on kind of the border of Lafayette, Pleasant Hill. in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, well,
area.
there was one in a shopping center that you've had really bad luck at.
That's the one he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that you pointed me to because I was down in the area to go hiking on Mount Diablo, and I
Mhm.
think might have been one of the times that I was like, "Hey, let's meet up," and I think you weren't able to, and you said, "But by the way," because I was asking about the roundabout, and you said, "Oh, you should check out that roundabout,"
Right.
and you told me exactly where it was, and I was so tired after my hike that I just wanted to get home at that point. But
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to deal with that.
yeah, not after a long hike.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
But I do want to see it. I do want to check it out sometime.
I do have a compilation on my channel of all the problems with it.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, just like I'm going to do a compilation of the 2 problem spots I've dealt with over the years. So anyway, here it is. I'm going to go ahead and play it. Did you have anything you wanted to say before I hit play on this one?
Just that, like I said, I was totally unaware of this guy except for the fact that he was a car in front of me, and I think I was on my way back from picking up some pizza
Yeah.
for the family, so I'm just like trying to get home with food for the family and rocking out to some music, like again having a good day, and
Yeah. Someone had to come along and try to
yep,
ruin that. I hope it was good pizza having to go through all that.
yeah, it was good from what
Yeah.
I remember anyway.
All right. Well, here it goes. I'll hit play and oh, that's the guy. Yeah. I'll
Yep.
probably remember it once I see it.
Yeah.
But it does show that I've watched it before. Because my memory gets kind of bad when I've had so much stuff going on in life.
So it's like I wasn't tailgating him. I'd never
Nope.
had any kind of interaction with him.
Nope.
I'm well away from him. I'm not stopped too close. And here we go.
Here he go. Oh, I remember this one.
Sorry? With what? Excuse me? What are you talking about? Get back in your car, dude. What are you talking
Oh my
about?
God.
What are you talking about?
You can hear I was just so confused. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
like
going
what?
on? Because at
I-
first when he got out and he said, "You got a problem," I
Yeah.
thought it was a statement. I thought he was saying, "You got a problem." That's why I asked, "With what?"
Oh.
Like I thought I
gotcha.
had something like stuck to my front end or something hanging
Right.
from my bumper.
Yeah.
I just feel like, yeah, me and white SUVs, I have a history.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I thought, because I feel like I'm always trying to assume the best. Like if someone's
Right.
doing something, I'm like, well, there's got to be a reason for it, So I thought he was getting out to tell me like, hey, you've got a problem. You've got,
Yeah.
a big plastic bag on your grill or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, with what?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, good. And it
I
was
rem-
like, I feel like it was kind of like the Bart guy. It was like he had an
Right.
idea in his head of what he wanted to say,
Yeah.
but I wasn't going off his script.
Yeah.
It's like he expected me to be like, I don't know, whatever he thought I was upset about. I think he expected me to voice it, like say, because the only thing I noticed is he didn't use a turn signal when he got into that turn lane,
Right.
and so I don't know if he thought I had a problem with that. I don't know how I
That's
would have
weird.
expressed that.
Well, I've got I now that I've seen that clip again, I do remember seeing it. It's just I didn't remember it before I saw it tonight.
Mhm.
Like I said, life's been so busy, my memory is just kind of
Sure.
mush right now. But it could be either I don't know. He could be on drugs.
Possible.
Drugs do weird things to people, or it could have been he had an incident with someone else and confused you for that person.
True.
You said your vehicle's white.
Um, no, the that guy's vehicle, and then the
The other
Bart
SUV.
guy, his shadow lady had pointed out, like, man, you and white SUVs.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I know if you have if you have a very common looking car, either a common color or a common model, it's pretty easy to confuse people.
Yeah, ours is pretty common, so it is.
So he may
It
have
is possibility.
Or it could have been a combination of both. He was high on something and confused about who he was actually should be raging
Right.
at.
But I'm just like, what did you do that you think I had a problem with? Like, he obviously had a guilty conscience about something.
Yeah.
He knew he did, because that's why a lot of these people, if you don't honk, but and that's another story I have that I don't think I posted.
What's that? Oh.
The guy that got out, and he wasn't like angry. Well, he was kind of angry. It wasn't the same kind of situation because we were in line at the car pickup line for my daughter's school, and the guy had gotten out and wanted to talk to me about what had happened.
Huh.
And basically, he had tried to cross over a bunch of lanes, and he ended
Yeah.
up behind me. But
Oh,
as he
that
was,
guy.
yeah, as he's behind me, he was like sticking out diagonally in the
This
lane.
one. Oh, I think I found it.
Okay, maybe I did post that one. I think I did
You did
a
post it.
stream.
Yeah, confronted. This is crazy. I mean, how often people are getting out of their vehicles
Right.
now. Although this was, yeah, let me skip to that part here. Yeah, let me go ahead and let me play that for folks if that's okay.
Go for it.
And we can,
Because it just all ties back into that ego preservation. Like, oh, well, you know, he knew he did something wrong. And so
yeah.
that's why he was looking in my mirror to see. That's what these people, they mess up and then they look around like, did anybody see that?
So I think that's him right there in the
Yes,
white Honda,
that's
right?
him.
Yeah.
And so if he wanted my lane, he could have just gotten right behind me.
Sure, absolutely. But he
Although he
waits.
claims that he changed his mind. He didn't want to go on the freeway at first, but then he decided, which is BS, because to get to the school, you have to get on the freeway.
Yeah. So his lack of he gets mad at you for his lack of planning,
Right.
basically. So there he is.
And so all I did was I look in my mirror, and you can hear the audio. I don't say anything. All I did was like I laughed, I think, and I shook my
Yeah.
head. I was just like, look at this guy. He's up my butt, and then he's
Yeah.
got his butt sticking out in the other lane. And then, so it was just like I just shook my head, like, and so he backs up.
Oh, goes to this
Goes
side of
around.
you.
And then he comes up alongside me, because look at all that room ahead of him. He's
Right.
next to me now, just staring at me.
Huh.
And I was like, what? It was so weird. I'm like, what is this guy's problem?
Ah.
Okay, so kind of a whole lot of nothing, right? Like, I don't know if I would have even included what that guy did on one of my compilations. It was kind of dumb, especially if you look at the beginning. If we go back,
Oh, this is
See
this
where
is
he
you
came
explaining
from
it, yeah.
Right.
originally. He
I
was
wasn't sure if
right
that was actually you talking or if
there.
it was
He
the
was
video.
It's me from the lane that I'm in. And then he got out of it because he probably thought it was going too slow, or yeah. So he was in my lane to begin with, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
This
and
all
here-
could have been avoided if he had just had some patience.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then it wasn't until we then got to the school and he got out.
Oh, he got
then
out
from-
later.
Yeah, we made it all the way to the
Oh.
school. He went in the parking lot the wrong way,
Yeah.
and so I had to like go around him. And I'm laughing about it. I'm like, this guy is just a mess. Like, he's going
Jeez.
in place. And then he ended up behind me, and then that's when he got out and he came up to my window and was basically like, "Oh, well, I saw you shook your head." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, Jesus.
And so his
Wow.
thing was like, "Well, that was disrespectful. You know, you shook your head at me." And I'm like, "I'm in my car. I can shake my head if I want to."
Yeah, what the hell?
And you don't even know what I'm shaking my head at. I could be listening
Right.
to, you know, an audiobook or a
Right.
podcast or a sports. You know, my team could have just gotten, you know, they could have just
Yeah.
lost, and I'm shaking my head like, ah.
Yeah.
There's a
Or
million reasons, but he somehow knew
yeah.
that I was shaking it at him because he knew he did something wrong.
Wow. Wow. I mean, people are just so easily offended now by just the smallest things, like you said, a head
Yep.
shake, a horn honk, flick of the high beams. It's just
And it's like,
nuts.
if the roles had been reversed and I had seen someone shake their head, I would have been like, "Yep, you're right. I'm an idiot. Like, I screwed
Yeah.
up." I don't understand, you know, why there's a difference in some people where they get called out for being stupid or doing something stupid, and you can go one or two ways. You could, like I said, you could have some humility and laugh at yourself and say,
Right.
"You know what? You're right. This was pretty dumb." Or if they honk, you know what? you're right. I needed to be aware of how close we were. You know, the few
Yeah.
times I have gotten honked at, it's like, oh dang, you know what? You're right. Ooh, you know, you throw out that kind of like, oh, sorry. It's too bad there's not a better gesture for, oh, I'm sorry. Like, there's
Right.
definitely a very good one for F you and screw you and I'm mad at you. There's tons for that. But
Yeah.
there definitely needs to be some sort of universal gesture for I'm sorry. But I don't know how many
Right.
people would actually use it. So.
So someone's asking, J World's asking if we have ever encountered a road rage incident that we've just stumbled upon, not one that we took part in, but just witnessed. So I'll let you go first.
I'm sure I have. I can't remember exact details, but I'm pretty sure I've come across where I've, you know, seen people yelling at each other. Um, yeah, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head though.
Yeah, I've witnessed a few that I posted, and there were. Let's see, there was one in particular I witnessed when I first learned to drive. Well, no, it was a little later than that. I think it was 2001. Yeah, it was 2001. Yeah, I was living in Sassoon actually at the time, and it was on Highway 12. Eastbound 12 right before it merges onto 80 West.
Yes.
So the lanes merged down, or they did. I'm trying to think. Do they still? Yeah, they do merge. I think in one lane, and then that one lane then joins 80.
Right. It's kind of that left sweeping curve as you go into
Yeah,
12 to 80.
I know what it was. So right before that merge, some guy threw a water bottle out of his car at another vehicle, except the water bottle he threw was empty and looked like it had been stepped on already. So he just threw an empty squashed water bottle at another car, but it missed completely.
Well, of course it did, because it's an empty water
Because
bottle.
it's an empty water bottle and the wind's blowing it back.
Yeah.
So it didn't reach its target whatsoever.
Might as well have thrown a bird feather at him.
Exactly. So
Uh.
stupid. That was back in 2001. Since then, I have not witnessed a road rage incident between two other drivers, except for within the last year. I've witnessed all kinds. Actually, no, I take that back. There were some a few years back. There were two or three a few years back that I have witnessed that were fairly minor, and then some other minor ones just in the last year. But a lot of them in the last year. Like I've posted all of those. So if anybody wants to see those, they could just go back and.
Yeah, I've seen other people give other drivers the finger, but I don't really consider that like that's so tame these days. That
It's
doesn't
very
even seem like
tame.
road rage anymore.
It's very tame. I haven't seen that in a while, though. It's been a while since I've seen that. Somebody flip somebody else off. Yeah, just crazy lane changes. Somebody cutting the other person off on purpose, where you could tell it was road rage motivated. It was a punish, pass, punish, swerve, whatever. Oh, and somebody else brings up an interesting question. Where did it? It was Headless Chicken. We've featured some of his videos before. He's in Toronto, in the Toronto area. And we're talking about, this was back when we were talking about people being sensitive and getting offended easily. And he asked, is that being offended or being insecure? And I think it's both. I think there is some insecurity that goes along with it. And I honestly think that the kind of people who lash out when you honk, flash your lights, or shake your head, I think those types are more likely to be narcissistic individuals.
I was just gonna say with the guy at the school,
Yeah.
I think you had even said in the comments like, "Oh, that's pretty narcissistic."
Yeah. So I've studied human psychology a little bit, and I think this is an interesting topic, which I think I'd love to do another live stream where I talk more about narcissism and personality disorders that may account for road rage incidents and how people react when you honk at them. But I think narcissism probably plays a major role there, because people who aren't narcissists aren't really the type of people to lash out
Sure.
when called out. They're just not the types. Because people who are narcissistic have to be held in a good light. If you challenge anything about them, they hate that. That is a
Right. They can
major.
do no wrong in
They
their
can do no
minds,
wrong.
and you're trying to point out that they did.
It's a major blow to their ego, and it's imperative to them that they are seen as perfect
Hmm.
human beings. They care very much about what other people think of them. And that
Yep.
translates to lashing out when their image is challenged. When their sort of delusions of grandeur, they have grandiose views of themselves, and when that is challenged, that they tend to lash out, and they hate that. They are the ones who have to be in control. They are the ones who wow, where was I going with that? They're the ones who have to be in control
Sure.
at all times. They really only care about themselves. They're selfish. There's selfishness. There's a selfish component to narcissism, and I can't remember what the percentage of the population has NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. It's classified as a disorder when it destroys relationships
Hmm.
and when it affects the person's quality of life, because those people are miserable. They work so hard. They put so much energy into trying to make themselves look good and be in control of the situation, and lashing out whenever anything doesn't go their way. And this translates to, as well, domestic incidents, domestic violence.
Definitely.
A lot of, I'd say probably more people than less have been in a relationship with a narcissist at some point in their lives.
Yep.
Whether that is a romantic relationship or a family member. My wife and I actually have a family member who is undoubtedly has crossed a line into narcissistic personality disorder. I mean, he is a raging asshole. An absolute raging asshole. He's got a terrible reputation in town. I don't know how on earth his wife can stay married to this guy. He's a horrible human being. But that's that. I think that's definitely a topic for a future live stream.
For sure. Yeah, because you come across these people and they're driving. It's like the odds are that they're only like that when they're behind the wheel is pretty low.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
It's usually going to translate into some other part of their lives. They're not just a
Yeah.
total sweetheart everywhere else, but then they get behind
No.
the wheel and they're
That's
just like you got to say with
Yeah.
the Bart guy. It's like just imagine being married to that guy or being his
Right.
kid. It's just like
Right.
that's got to be walking on eggshells all the time because you never know what's going
Sure.
to set him off.
Sure.
If something as simple as, hey, you screwed up and you're 5 feet off my bumper swinging into my lane and I honk at you for half a second and now you want to fight. It's like
Exactly. I think that's a good point, that it isn't just behind the wheel that they act like that. It's sort of like when you talk about people who drink, and when they get drunk, they become belligerent, or they become a slosh in some other way that's not good. And people will talk about how that how a person acts when they're drunk is really their true colors. The alcohol just sort of
yes,
strips away the outer layers of the facade, and what you see when they're drunk is at the core of their personality.
exactly. Yeah, it doesn't turn you into a different person. It doesn't
Nope.
change your personality. Like you
It
said,
just strips the facade away. That's all
exactly.
it does. And the same with driving. Driving strips the facade away.
Yep,
And
we get behind the glass and the metal and we think, oh, well, we can do or say whatever we want. And I was just thinking that the other day when I was driving. I'm just
Oh.
like, I feel like if you're walking around, your town, depending on where you live, especially if you're in like a smaller town, everybody's usually polite and calm and nice to each other. You hold the door open for someone,
Yeah.
or everyone's pretty much usually polite, unless you're in maybe a huge city, like if you're in New York City or something, and everyone's kind of grumpy with each other still. But for the most part, in my area or where I grew up, everybody is pretty cordial with each other. You're right there face to face,
Yeah.
and so if you had to, you could have, if you had an issue with someone, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to escalate. But then we get into a car, we get behind sheet metal and glass, and in a 4,000-pound weapon basically. And I think Louis C.K. had a bit where he's like, "There's nothing I won't say to someone when I'm behind the wheel of a car, because
Yep.
I'm like, it's terrible because I'm the worst person I could possibly be when I need to be the best person I could possibly be."
All
It's
right.
like, and it's true. It's like I feel like we're out on the road and we're all just, it's like us against them. It's like, well,
It does feel that way
I'm trying to get
sometimes.
where I'm going, and these people are in my way, and I got to navigate around them. That's just how I feel so many people think. Like they just must
Yeah.
get in the
It's
car and just instantly just be on the defensive, and not in the good way of being a defensive driver,
I know
but
what you mean. Yeah, and
just
that's
looking for something to be a problem.
and that is unfortunately a normal human trait.
Yeah.
It's part of human psychology. We are naturally our brains are wired to be competitive, defensive, but of course, it crosses a line into a personality disorder when a person is defensive of their own stupidity. It's
Yes.
okay to be
We
defensive when somebody violates your safety or does something legit that they were not supposed to do, like cut you off and you honk. That's your
right.
sort of calling them out, and that's normal. But what isn't exactly normal is when the person you just honked at for being stupid uh, thinks that they can do no wrong, and they have a delusion that you were wrong for
Right.
calling them out, and that
Because
they
in their
didn't
mind
do
they can't be wrong. They
exactly.
can do no wrong. So if they're not wrong, but you're pointing out that they are, then that means you must be wrong.
Yeah, that's where I think it crosses a line into a personality disorder, and I think narcissism plays a big part in that. Yeah, I think the estimates are maybe 5% of the population has narcissistic personality disorder, and the rest of us are on a spectrum somewhere. Because the
Sure.
NPD is at the extreme end of the spectrum, where you are
Hmm.
pretty much as narcissistic as you can get, and then the rest of us are somewhere on a spectrum. Because there is a healthy level of narcissism that doesn't cause problems in a person's life or cause problems for others. It just gives you the confidence, say, to do a really good job where you work or run a business, and it in having a healthy level of it, which translates into having confidence in being successful, and you do well with your business or whatever that may be.
Sure.
So I think there's a spectrum for a lot of things. And if you're at the low end of that spectrum, there's not a problem. But then once you start showing unhealthy personality traits, and unhealthy again meaning it negatively impacts your interactions with other people or relationships in your life, is where it becomes a problem. So that's my opinion. Headless chicken. So that's that. Yep. Looks like it went quiet on your end. Are you still there? Uh-oh. I think his connection cut out because I can't hear Bay Area anymore. Okay. Okay. Once he comes back, there's something else I wanted to discuss. Yeah, it looks like he. Oh, let me add him back in. Are you there? Oh, there you are. I can hear you now.
Okay. Don't know what happened there.
Oh, I don't know.
Seemed like you had dropped off because I was talking and I was
Nothing else was
talking.
happening.
So,
I'm gonna grab another beer really quick, and
all right.
then and then we'll talk about that reckless camera.
All right.
We got some more. We got some more dirt to dig up here, don't we? All right, I'll be right back.
All right.
All right.
I'm just going to go through the chat here, see if there's anything else directed my way. Let's see. Oh, I was asking about the different driving aids in cars. You know, I get that they're good for the people that rely on them, but at the same time, it seems like it's kind of, God, how do I put it? It's like it's holding their hand a little too much. And then if anybody ever gets into a car that doesn't have those features, now what are you going to do? Now you're not as tuned in to what's going on around you because you're waiting for that little warning light to turn on that's not there. So it's kind of like backup cameras. They're nice to have, but I also feel like you should be aware of where your vehicle is in relation to other vehicles, and not needing to rely on that. You know, your skills can be diminished because you're not keeping up on them, I guess is a good way to say it. So parking space holders, that's ridiculous. If you're not a car, you shouldn't be in a parking space. You know, you don't have your name on it. You don't get to reserve a parking space. It's a public space. So I personally, I wouldn't try to engage anybody who's doing that too much. I might, you know, tell them like, hey, you can't do that. But if they insist on it, I'm not going to be one of those people that's like slowly nudging their way into the spot. Because now it's like, okay, you're about to leave your vehicle in this parking lot, and now you have somebody who knows that it's your vehicle and they're mad at you. So it's just that's one of those. It's one of those times you should just be the bigger person and know that they're being a moron and let them just continue to be one, but don't, you know, be a part of that anymore and just move on. There's bound to be another spot somewhere. So
I'm back. Got myself another Racer 5.
nice.
Yep. And all right, well, we got a reckless camera in our midst. So just to give everybody a little background here, I've actually known about this for a little while, but I'm just now going public with this. And this is a dash camera, and I'll explain what I mean by dash camera in a minute here. I know I like shudder when
he's a GoProer, I guess you could say.
GoProer, yeah. But he drives the same freeways that both I do and Bad Drivers of the Bay Area drives. So he covers both of our areas and then some. I think I've seen some of his drives in Sacramento, you know, out that way, or some other places in the Central Valley.
I've seen San Francisco too. I've seen him on the Bay Bridge.
Yeah. But it's mostly the East Bay, I think. Some Solano County, and a little bit of up here in Napa County. So
Right.
it's pretty disturbing, though. So I put a link in the description of this chat. This live stream. Sorry, this is 7.5% alcohol, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little less coherent and articulate than I was earlier.
So I've been sticking to water.
Yeah, I haven't actually had a beer in over a week, so.
Oh yeah, you're due.
I don't drink that much. I really try to not drink. I try to treat my liver well,
Yeah.
but every once in a while, like to have a couple 3 beers, and Anyway, I'm posting a link to this Reckless Drivers Cameras channel here in the sidebar chat. I also put a link in the description of this live stream. So when I say dash cammer, it is a dash cam, but he is not posting videos for the same purpose that all the rest of us are.
No.
He's posting videos to showcase his own reckless driving. Like he's proud of it. He takes pride in his reckless
Oh
driving.
yeah, he's very proud of it,
Yeah.
and all of his, 700 something followers, they are just so impressed by
Yeah.
his skill.
In fact, he has attracted an audience of like-minded people who think driving is a game, like a video game.
Yep, they even
I've
called that
actually
in the comments.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He called driving a game in his comments. I think we can say what his age is. I think that part's fine. We found out that he even said in a comment that he's 31 years old. And
Yes,
you
yeah, he
think by
made that
then,
public knowledge. So.
yeah. So this guy's absolutely insane with his driving. He regularly exceeds 130 miles an hour. At those speeds, he changes lanes really close to people. In fact, I think in one of his videos, his title says he almost got macked, whatever that means. I'm guessing that means crashed, almost crashed. He drives. I will tell you what kind of car he drives because he mentions it in the title of his videos. He drives a BMW E90 335D. Okay, I'm gonna post that in the sidebar chat here.
Yeah, he's also very proud of his car. He talks about it all the time.
Yeah, which in and of itself is fine, but
it's also
this-
very just a piece of the puzzle that could lead to
his arrest.
right.
Yeah. So, and I believe his vehicle's white. So if you're ever driving, so if anybody listening is ever driving, let's see, he's which freeways would you say he's most on? 680? He's on 680 a
680s,
lot.
yeah. He's on both, north and south 680. Either coming over to I see a lot of the Benicia Bridge. I've seen him coming through San Ramon, Danville, all the way into Concord. Then also the other direction, I've seen him coming up through Pittsburgh, going over the hill into Concord. Just all the places that I frequent. So.
Yeah. So if any of you guys ever see a white BMW E90 335D,
It may be silver. I get the impression
could be
from
silver.
seeing the hood, it could be a
could be
lighter
silver. Yeah, it could be silver or white. But I did see a reflection of his car on the back of a large tanker truck, and I could have sworn it was white, but
okay.
his hood does kind of look like it could be silver.
Yeah.
So I don't know, either silver or white. If you see it, it's probably a somewhat newer model. I'm gonna guess it's newer than probably 2015, or I don't know. It's hard to say. You could
Right.
see his dashboard in his videos, or at least some of his videos, maybe his older ones.
Could be worth posting on Reddit in the "What's this car" subreddit.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we know what car it is, but those people there, they're really great at figuring out the details.
Yeah.
So we could figure out a year.
I am going to screen share his page, though. I think I can do that at least. I can't play any of his videos, but I can do a screen share of his channel. Let's see here, Chrome tab. Okay, so his channel is called Jolly Green Cuts. All right, but I am going to tell you that his channel, he recently changed the name of his channel.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be called Jolly Green Scott. And I think that's
you can
all.
see that in the URL still too.
You can see that in the URL that it says Jolly Green Scott. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I think his last name is, but in the URL, he had there was what I think was his last name before he changed his channel name. Or YouTube may have changed the way they display the URLs. When people create a Google account, sometimes they will use their first and last name when they create their Google account. And I've seen people's last names show up in the URL. And I believe his name was showing up in the URL. So I've actually made a note of his last name. I'm I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't know if I can say it. I don't know what crosses a line into doxing, and I don't know. I just not sure if it's appropriate for me to do that
Without knowing for sure.
without knowing for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, this guy I feel a little bit differently about than my Bart guy, just because what my guy did isn't potentially going to kill someone. Whereas
Right.
this guy, and
This
I
guy.
mean, he hasn't
Mhm.
posted in 6 days, so it's like, how do we know he didn't already? I don't know.
Okay. When DashCam says that the E93 series was from 2005 to 2012. Okay. So it looks like it may be a little bit older model or the last generation. Um, I'm like sort of reading the comments and trying to decide which one to respond to next.
Yeah.
So there is another camera in the New York City area that showcases himself running from the police.
This guy has posted video.
Oh,
of
he
him
did
running
post
from
one where he
people.
was running from the police. Yeah,
Yep.
up in Napa,
Yep.
Napa County.
He even says
where I
just
live.
as I had to run from a trooper or something like that.
Yeah,
And you can see him cutting, blowing through stop signs because he's trying to get away.
yeah.
You can
He's
tell
trying to
he's
lose the
freaking out.
cop.
Yep.
Yeah, he was trying to lose the cop.
And that's somehow impressive. It's like,
Yeah, and you'll
uh,
actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this page for a second, and I'm going to post a link to the video where he drives up in my area running from a cop. You have to remember that sometimes this video start out a little tame, like he's not going that fast at first, but as you get toward the end of his videos, that's where they tend to get more and more reckless. But let me go ahead and post a link in the sidebar to his Napa Valley video where he was up in my area running from the cops, and you'll notice, you'll recognize the area that he's driving in from our videos.
yeah, that's the one I had seen.
So it is pretty disgusting with how this guy drives. I mean, granted, it takes a lot of skill to drive the way he does, but his luck is going to run out eventually, and he's going
And
to
that's the thing is, all the drivers around him, they're not all as skilled as he is. And
right.
you go through his comments, and it's just he says things like, "Oh, someone said, well, your luck's going to run out." Well, I don't believe in luck. It's like,
Yeah,
really? Like,
he says crazy stuff like that. He thinks
Yeah.
he's invincible. I mean, his comments, I thought he was a teenager, and then come to find
Yeah.
out he's 31 years old.
Right. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, in this video, I'm watching it now. It definitely looks silver or gray.
Yeah, it could be.
If it was white, it would be a lot.
Unless he has two cars,
brighter.
one that's white and one that's, but I don't know. But I just want to let everybody know watching this that if you drive those same freeways, especially 680, I think he's on Highway 80 a bit, Interstate 80. He says he's on Highway 29 a lot. He says he drives up into the Napa Valley quite a bit. So if anybody sees that model of BMW speeding by you at that speed, it's probably him. If even better, if you can get an image of his license plate,
Yeah,
his face, if you're really, really lucky. I mean, that's hard to do, but
right. Yeah, right around the, I'd say a minute 20 range is where he starts really.
It gets
being
really
ridiculous.
dangerous.
He goes on the shoulder, passes people on the right on the shoulder.
Yeah, at what speed?
Over 100, about 120.
Yeah, exactly. He has a little speed readout.
Which I find it all hilarious. It's just so all incriminating. Like, he's giving us all the information we need to show that he's.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, no.
He does drive a lot of the same routes, so it shouldn't be that hard to catch him. If there were people actually looking for him, they could probably catch him easily. Yeah.
Yeah, I do find it interesting because if you look at his post history, it's like almost every day.
Yeah, yeah.
11 days ago, 10 days ago, 9 days ago, 9, then 7, then 6, and then now it's been 6 days and nothing. So you almost hope that's, not because he finally ran out of luck and someone else had to
Had to pay the
suffer along
price.
with him, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen if he hits somebody.
I hate to say it, but you know, one can only hope that he takes himself out and not any innocent people with him, or he
Right.
gets arrested. I mean, those are the two
Yeah,
outcomes
that
I'm
would be
hoping for.
ideal, is if he was actually caught and
If he was
finally
caught and arrested,
arrested and his car was taken, and
yeah.
because that's the thing, if he gets caught, license is going away, his car's going away,
Yeah.
and he won't be able to do this anymore. So
And he
that would
talks
be ideal.
he talks about it in his comments, "Oh, they can't get me if they can't prove who's driving." And it wouldn't be that hard to prove that he was driving if there are people actually looking for him, if they've got
Right.
dash cams running and they are passed at a high speed by this guy. And I
And
do.
if there was an actual, you know, task force that was put out to actually catch the guy,
Yeah.
instead of just, you know, one unit just kind of driving around, if it was someone spots him and then they alert another unit up the road, like, all right, we got him.
I'm almost thinking there should be some sort of informal task force where you just have a bunch of people with dash cams out there driving those same routes, looking for this guy, and when they catch
Right.
him, they call CHP right away. They mention his channel, that they believe there's a connection to the channel. It wouldn't be that hard to catch him. It really wouldn't be.
Right.
And you could get an image of his face, his license plate, everything you need right there. And I do. You know what's funny is ever since I've discovered this guy, I have been checking the news for any stories involving car
Yeah,
crashes with, you know, a white or silver BMW.
sure.
You know, it's oh, Shadow Lady, yeah. Yeah, if you ever so I know you drive 80. If you ever see this guy, yeah, just keep an eye out for him. Be ready to call CHP when you see him speed by you. And
I mean,
hopefully
there's just so
they'll
many situations where if someone changed lanes, you know, even a little abruptly,
Yeah.
and he's coming up on him, he's even had people in his comments like, whoa, you know, you shouldn't have done that, without knowing what was, you know, you went around someone on the right and you didn't know what was around him, and he's just like, oh, well, you know,
Exactly.
he just, you know, downplays everything. Um,
Yeah.
oh, I love his logic too. In one of the comments, someone was giving him crap about what he does, and he was like, well, I haven't crashed into anybody yet, so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yet.
well, I want to ask him, like, well, do you wear a seatbelt? Like, I doubt he does, but if he does, then it's like, well, why do you wear a seatbelt? You know, you're not going to crash,
Yeah.
so why wear it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
right. We don't drive like, you know, you do, because you might crash. That's the same reason why you wear a seatbelt. It's because you might crash,
Yeah.
and it might not be up to you. You know, that's
Oh,
like when I was on a motorcycle. It was just, you know, you could be the best rider in the world, but I would still say, you know, you got to wear all the gear. I'd see guys go out in nothing but a helmet and a t-shirt and some shorts, and it was like, why are you not wearing gear? Oh, well, I'm a good rider. Like, doesn't
yeah.
matter if you're a good rider who comes across a bad driver.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm
going to be up to you.
yeah, exactly. I'm screen sharing the comment section of the Napa Valley video where he was running from the cops. If we scroll down, we can see some of his logic. I mean, look how he's got, you know, an echo chamber of people with his same, you
Yeah,
know, mindset.
it's sad.
And so it's the YouTuber Wears 981. That's the guy in New York City that runs from the cops and drives the same way.
Right.
And this person's actually like congratulating him that he's getting
Yeah.
closer to, like, as if it's something to aspire to. Let's aspire to become somebody who can drive as recklessly as possible and run from the cops for fun and all this and that.
Yeah. Or this other
Um,
guy, sick driving. Keep up the good work.
yeah, and this guy Cross, it says, "Glad to see you're growing so fast. Love the vids."
Oh, God.
And then this other guy, I got arrested a few weeks ago for driving like this. Solid driving though, stay safe. And then he said, "What do they charge you with?" And he said, "I'm in Canada. It was for dangerous driving." Is that a crime or a moving violation?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, there was one
Um,
where it was a commenter was talking about how they're a nurse and
yeah.
how they have to deal with the aftermath of drivers like him all the time.
Oh
And
yeah.
all the guy did was give him crap for being a male nurse. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, you're a nurse, so I don't need to listen to you." It's like, wow.
Now look at this one. This is interesting. So Sportify says, dude driving that fast on the between, bad English, driving that fast between Napa and St. Helena is dangerous as hell. And this is obviously a route that I drive too. And Jolly Green Cuts says, I know there's always a goon out. He's referring to cops. And
Right.
he says, I do that commute pretty regularly. I go past the patrol station in Yountville and see how many cars are home. So it looks like he looks to see how many are parked in front of the police station.
Hmm.
And if they're all there, then he knows that there's none out doing speed patrol.
Right.
God, this guy's just, I
And
don't know.
he takes it to be it's dangerous, not dangerous to the other people on the road. It's dangerous because he might get caught.
Right.
That's
And
the
then-
danger.
And this pisses me off. He drives the route that I drive regularly because I commute up and down the valley all the time, and I have to share the road with this freaking moron. Now, somehow I have not ever seen this guy. We must, and I drive different times of the day. Well, more time, sometimes more than others. Another person saying, "Bro, you need to invest in a radar detector." Yeah, it's probably time. I'm old school, I guess. Slow down for the on ramps
God.
and blank corners, you know.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, what's the mileage on your 335D? 150,000 miles. Okay, yeah, it's definitely an older car.
Right.
Let's see what else he has. Another one of his bed buddies. Once you see the pigs, just keep going. Oh wow.
Yeah, someone says you better not have plates, and he says, regardless of whether or not I have plates
Right
on the
here.
car, what are they going to do with a plate? Charge the registration with a traffic violation? They couldn't prove I didn't let someone borrow the vehicle.
Yeah, except dash cams. Some of them are fitted with polarizing filters, so we can see through the glare on windshields and get an image of the person's face. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, that's all the comments from that video. But it's just to show how invincible this guy thinks he is. It's absolutely nuts. Should invest in life insurance. That's true. Uh-oh, did we lose you again, Bay Area? Oh, there you are. I
Yeah.
think. Oh,
Lost
there
my
you
internet connection.
are. Oh, it happens. It
Getting a little
happens.
spotty. I'm not sure how much you got of the last thing I said, but I was just saying, he thinks all he has to do is run away from him. And it's like, if they actually put a concerted effort into catching him, then he wouldn't be able to, especially if, they get multiple units or they get a chopper out there, he's not going to be able to get away. So.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why if any of you guys see him or suspect it's him, I mean, if you see a car matching that description driving at that speed past you on any of those routes, then it's a pretty good chance that it's him. And if you call the CHP right away and they pull him over, well, that's the proof that he was driving. And if you are able to get a visual description, if you're able to, get any kind of description of the driver, then that helps.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how long it takes for his luck to run out, but I think we're going to start posting this guy on Reddit.
I think so. I think it's time with, as much as we tried to do to get the word out, and it's just not seeming to take hold anywhere.
Right.
I was really hoping I was going to be able to get something put out there, but it's not looking promising. So.
Nah, it's not. So we're going to let the internet do its work, and just so everyone knows, because I was able to come up with what I believe is his full name, I was able to find out quite a lot of information. If it is the same guy, I was able to dig up. I was able to see an address, phone number, where he's lived in the past. There's even a guy. You know, it's interesting. There is a guy with the same name on Facebook. There aren't very many people on Facebook with that name. There's only two
Interesting.
guys, and one of them is posing next to a bunch of BMWs.
That's a good
Older ones,
bet.
though. Older BMWs.
He definitely seems to have a thing
really
for
older one.
BMW, so that's not too
And I
surprising.
and I mean older than what he has.
Right.
He's posing next to like a 1996 or 7 some BMW model. I don't know which one,
hmm
but he's posing next to one. And there's a you can see a bank in the background of the picture. So I Googled the name of the bank, and unfortunately, it's a pretty common bank found throughout the country. So I'm like, well, that doesn't narrow anything down. But I should reach out to Stanley Roberts. You know, that's not a bad
Yeah.
idea. I might do that.
I know he's not with Cron 4 anymore, but he may
No.
still have some contacts.
Oh, he's got contacts with the CHP still.
Yeah.
I might go that
Yeah,
route.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we tried that. The news station thing didn't pan out. No, but
Yeah.
nobody wanted to
At least not
run
yet.
it. Not yet. Nobody felt it was worth their time. But I think the public deserves to know. I think they're entitled
Absolutely.
to know who they're sharing the roads with.
Definitely.
So,
This guy just thinks he's above the law. It's like, I
oh yeah,
don't know what makes him think he can drive like this. Like the rest of us are, just beneath him because,
yeah.
again,
'Cause
we're just in his way. Definitely
We're-
probably some narcissistic tendencies going on there too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't doubt that one bit. I can't remember which video it was that I left a comment. I don't. Oh, excuse me. That's a beer. There was one of his videos where I left a comment, and I don't normally comment on any of his videos because I know that he's a lost cause. Trying to reason
Right.
with
I
him.
haven't. I've wanted to, but it's like I'm just not even gonna bother because then I'll
But-
be probably on his radar and on his followers' radar. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So I left a comment. I don't remember exactly what I said. Just I think I sort of used the Socratic method with him.
Yeah.
Like posing things as a question that probes him to engage in some critical thinking with his answers. And I came to the conclusion that you just can't reason with this guy.
No, he's got an answer for everything, and even if it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, he still feels like he's won and he's answered it, and his followers feel the same way. So it's like,
And that's where he told me that he thinks that driving is a game. I mean, he just straight up told me that
Wow.
driving is a game. It's a game to him.
unreal.
Yeah. He's an adrenaline junkie, apparently.
Yeah. But
It's-
apparently he can't afford to buy a track day and actually go to a track
Right.
where he would actually need to have some real driving skill because he's
Yeah.
got some good skill as far as cutting in between people, but he's on these freeways. They're all straight lines. He's not really doing good driving.
Not really, no. He's just managing not to crash into anybody
Right.
despite coming within inches of people at
Yes.
over 100 miles an hour. And these tight
So
squeezes.
he's good at driving poorly, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily a good driver.
Exactly. And
You put him out on a track with actual, turns and corners and apexes and all that good stuff. It's like, okay, well, how's he going to fare then?
yeah. And not to mention cars have a lot of safety features, traction control, stability
Right.
control, and so the car is doing some of the driving, is taking on some of that skill that
Yep.
he may not have at all. If it weren't for those safety features, I'd probably be losing control. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I've almost thought about just starting like a burner account just to just for this sole purpose of talking to the guy and messing with him or something. Because it's like if I put on my actual channel, then it's like, okay, now I've got a target on my back if I make myself known to him. So
well, I actually
not
don't
worth it.
mind being a target to him. Personally, I don't. But oh my gosh, his last couple videos actually got quite a few views, especially for the you know, considering the size of his following. He actually has some pretty decent views.
Right.
I mean, it's in the several hundreds, but for
Well, we
someone who
put him
started
on.
out as oh, you read it, yeah.
Yeah, put him on Idiots in Cars. That's where I got my 8 million views on mine.
Yeah,
I
that's
can only imagine.
crazy. Wow. That's crazy.
Man, I wish those had been on my YouTube channel.
I know.
But I
But
don't think that sub allows YouTube links. It's got to be
oh,
an actual
really?
native file. I believe. I could be
On Reddit?
There's at least one. I think it might be Roadcam or it might be DashCam. But there's one that doesn't allow YouTube links.
Oh, I didn't know
They'll take the
that.
post down.
Because I've
So that
always
one might be. You might have to post the actual video file.
I've always just posted YouTube links in Reddit.
There's even some that I think Roadcam requires you to do it, but I think it might be DashCam that I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That
Our
doesn't
DashCam?
allow it. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if Idiots in Cars is the same one, but that's
Well,
pretty much the big. That's got like 3.6 million members.
I can tell you for certain though that our Roadcam, Idiots in Cars, our Road Rage, and our Public Freakouts, those do allow YouTube links because I've always posted nothing but YouTube links to those ones, and I've never had a problem with the videos getting taken out. So it might have been a more specific, might have been a different subreddit that required
that's true.
only.
It might have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, Stanley Roberts is streaming right now.
Oh, interesting.
What? Get him on over here. Come on. Get him on over here. We got to talk to him. Come on, Stanley. We got to talk to you. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it says in the sidebar chat. Yeah. Do you remember Stanley Roberts?
Oh yeah, the people
behaving
badly. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember him?
Yep, definitely.
Yep. He's living in Phoenix now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a falling out with Cron 4.
Right, I remember that.
I forgot exactly what happened, but I know there was also some contention about the fact that Cron 4 wanted to retain legal ownership over all the videos he had done, all the segments he had done. So I don't know what was in their contract, so I can't speak as to who was right or wrong there, but I know that there were some other things that he brought up that that he hinted at, wasn't specific about it. He wasn't at liberty to speak about specifics, but there was some other stuff going on that I think he alluded to being kind of douchey on their part. And then he, moved out to Phoenix and has a segment out there. He's still doing segments.
Oh, that's good.
But he still comes back to the Bay Area to do some. Although I don't know if he's out here visiting family and while he's here does segments, but he does do the occasional Bay Area segment again.
Oh, okay.
Every now and again. Yeah.
Yeah, so it does look like confirmed that we could just go ahead and post one of his videos.
Oh,
I mean, I'm kind of hesitant to do that because then he's going to get all these views. So it's like,
well, I actually don't mind because he's getting the kind of views that we want him to get.
True.
He's not getting the kind of views he wants, and
he's obviously not monetized.
He can't. He's not
718.
monetized. No, he's not monetized. He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have a high enough subscriber count, or probably enough views.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the subscribers. You got to have 1,000, and then
yeah.
I doubt he's got the views either. And if we're showing it to the right kind of people, they're not going to be subscribing to him anyway. So
yeah. I actually thought about asking Stanley Roberts to join tonight, but I just kind of ran out of time to do that.
Right.
But back to what you were saying. Yeah. So yeah, he'll be getting the kind of views he doesn't want,
That's true.
and I don't mind. You know, the internet's pretty good at doing its thing, I'd say.
Yeah, they definitely proved it with my guy. So
Yeah, yeah. 8 million. That's
yeah,
crazy. Holy crap. I know an ad
yeah.
revenue. So if that when you translate 8 million views to ad revenue, well, let's see. You can earn anywhere between what is it? $1 or $3, $1 to $3 or $1 to $5 for every 1,000 views you get.
Hmm.
Kind of depends on the content too.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of a bummer. I could have just posted the link to my YouTube, and then I would have actually gotten those views.
Could
But
have earned $30,000 off of that.
yeah.
Oh no, I'm not kidding.
Mm,
This is why the guy that the vloggers who they get a few million views for every vlog they post once a
right.
week. They never have to work again. Ever. I'm not kidding. And some of
Yeah.
them have gotten so big that they've got a whole garage full of Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and then their videos become more about their toys, their fancy
Right.
cars, and the racing that they do. And then we
Sure.
start getting back into this reckless driving stuff and
Yeah.
running from the cops and all. One time in Mexico, we hit over 100. You know the whole joke about Mexico when people post videos where they're going over 100 miles an hour?
Uh,
Oh, you don't know about the whole
no.
Mexico? Oh, so there's a joke about so when people post videos of themselves exceeding 100 miles per hour, they'll put in the title or they'll put in the description that it was in Mexico, so that the local authorities can't get them.
Mm,
It's just a kind
interesting.
of a pathetic way of throwing off, any law enforcement officers that might
Right.
be seeing the video. So it's become sort of a meme and an inside joke. This one time in Mexico, along
Yeah.
with the video of some reckless driving.
Got it.
So that's kind of where that started.
All right. All right. Well, I am looking at now we're what 2.5 hours going on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So I think I'm gonna call it a night.
Okay.
But thank you so much for having me on. It was good.
Absolutely.
We
Thank you
covered a
for
lot.
being here. Yeah, we did. That was a full stream.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, and
Yeah, of course.
I would love to do this again, but also I can't wait to meet you sometime because I'm
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm down in your area from time to time, and
Yeah.
I
Just get the stars to align.
I love hiking Mount Diablo. Absolutely love it. I don't like dealing with all the cyclists that are going uphill.
No, I
That's
can't
hard.
imagine.
That's kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah,
It makes driving more challenging getting to,
sure. Trying to get up to the summit. Yeah.
Yeah, but usually I'll park at the summit and then I'll hike. I'll do a hike, to the other summit, or there's
Mhm.
just so many hiking trails there.
Oh yeah.
There's some other parts of the mountain I want to explore, but next time I'm there, I'd love to, come by and see you if you happen to be
Yeah.
home, and if you ever want to come up this way, we can always do a meetup up here in the Napa Valley.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be
Yeah,
kind of
we'll
fun
definitely have to.
because I've had Greater Los Angeles DashCam up here.
Oh, nice.
He was in one of my videos where, actually the latest video I just posted, he was riding with us, and you can hear his
Oh, cool.
voice. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
So yeah, let's hook up.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Sounds
Cool.
like a plan.
Yeah. Well, have a nice evening.
Yeah, you
Enjoy
too. And enjoy your stream if you're gonna stay on for a little longer.
I'll probably go on till 8:00. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll listen in
Cool.
a little later when it's up. So
Excellent.
cool.
All right. Well, yeah. Have a good evening, and we're gonna get some rain tonight, by the way.
I did see that in the
We need it.
forecast. Yep.
We need it.
I specifically did not wash my car today. I was like, nope, not gonna do it.
Yeah, me
Not worth it.
neither. Wait till the rain's all done, then wash it.
Yes.
Oh. All righty.
All
Well,
right, man.
thanks for coming in, and you have a good one.
All right, you too, and thanks to everybody in the comments for joining in too.
Yep.
All right, take care.
All right, you too. Bye bye. North Central Maryland. Yes, reckless driving is an arrestable offense up here in Northern California. Absolutely. Yep. No, well, kind of. You missed most of it because I'm going to be getting off here soon, a half hour or so. Because I've been going for 2.5 hours. I'm on my second beer, and this is kind of heavy beer. It's got a rather kind of a high-ish alcohol content, and I can feel it affecting me. So this is probably where I'm going to stop with the beer. But Amazon vans. Actually, no. Amazon drives pretty good up here. The only problem I've seen occasionally with the Amazon drivers is they will double park when there is available parking nearby where they wouldn't otherwise be in the way. But I think that was Amazon. Yeah, it was Amazon. Yeah. I've only seen that a couple times, but I'd say all in all, the Amazon van drivers are pretty good around here. So I am happy to announce that. Yeah, we're doing okay. It's been stressful though. We had a death in the family, and there's been a lot to sort out. You know, when someone dies, sometimes they leave behind some stuff that has to be dealt with, and that's where we're at right now. We're having to deal with stuff that was left behind, paperwork that was left that that deals with her death. We're having to deal with a lot of paperwork, a lot of kind of stressful things, and dealing with some family members who maybe aren't the easiest people to deal with. So there's that. But we have come to terms with her loss, so thank you for that. We've come to terms with the loss. You know, she was old. It wasn't exactly an unexpected death. You know, we all die at some point, and you do miss the person when they pass, but death is inevitable. It happens to all of us, and life goes on. And we just pick up our feet and keep walking. And that's how it goes. And I think she was ready to go. She was ready to go. You know, she herself, I think, was at peace with knowing that she was gonna die. So I think that made it easier coming to terms with it. She was ready. She was ready. Yeah, she was old, and she had a terminal thing pop up, and it was the terminal illness that ended her life. And I actually just lost a dear friend due to the same thing, the exact same thing, the same terminal illness, like a year prior to that. And her death still haunts me. It still bothers me a lot. I have not come to terms with her death. My dear friend. That's hard for me thinking about it. But again, I know we all go sometime, and that happened to be their time to go. And all I can do is move on. That's it. You know, move on and realize that life is relatively short, because it is. The older you get, I notice this weird thing. The older I've gotten, I'm 40, you know, I'm in my early 40s. I notice as I get a little older, boy, the years seem to go by quicker than they used to. There's interesting science behind that. And I can't remember the mechanism behind why the years pass by quicker the older you get. But there was a science guy, YouTuber called Vsauce. Oh boy, he posted amazingly mind-blowing videos, things that really got you thinking. Like, did you know that there are different kinds of infinity? Yeah, from a mathematical perspective, there are different kinds of infinity. I never knew that. Now, that's a mind-blowing concept that most people can't wrap their heads around. So he did a video about that, and lots of really just mind-blowing topics, scientific topics. Vsauce. And one of the other videos he did was he talked about how the older we get, the quicker we perceive time to pass. And that's irrespective of whether your life is easy or hard. There's also the deal where if you're having a difficult day, time seems to slog on more slowly than if you're having a good time, where time seems to pass more quickly. Like, time flies when you're having fun. So there's that, but the whole concept of age and the passage of time does seem to be irrespective of what your life is. Yeah, may have had to do with the mathematics behind it, but I think there is more to it than that. But I think that's a good start to understanding why that is. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things happening. As the universe ages, it's expanding quicker. Expanding at a quicker rate. And scientists don't know why. Some of them speculate dark energy. Or could it be the more space expands, we perceive the passage of time differently? Space and time is intrinsically linked. As space expands, does it affect the passage of time? Of course, that wouldn't really have any bearing, I think, on one person's life and how we perceive the passage of time from birth to death. That's too small on a cosmological scale. Because when you're dealing with units of time, when you're talking about the universe, we're talking about, millions, billions of years. One lifetime is nothing in the grand scheme of the universe. It's absolutely nothing. Yeah, you view life differently, and that's, I think, just due to our experiences. Life is a classroom. The further we get into our lives, the more we learn. The more perspective we have, the more we learn to view things from different angles. It's just part of becoming old and wise. With the best being over now. Well, that's not to say that it depends on what aspect of your life you're talking about. If you're talking about your physical fitness, there is a peak that we hit in life, and I think that I believe that's in our 20s physically. So now that I'm in my early 40s, I'm past that peak of being my best physically. But I work very hard to, I guess, slow the decline. So the way I do that is I exercise every day. I do cardio and I do muscle toning every day. So I lift weights. Oh, wow, I just noticed a huge drop off in viewership. People are tuning out of the stream all of a sudden as soon as I start talking about this topic. Is that all the older people going, screw it. I don't want to lecture about how to, how my youth is behind me now. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I do things to slow the decline. Cardio exercises. My wife and I go running every evening. I ride an exercise bike. I go hiking a lot. But I do a little bit of weight training, just for physical fitness purposes. Keep my bones strong. Have a little bit of muscle definition. That's all I really care about. Keep my metabolism up so that I'm more able to burn calories efficiently. That sort of thing. And we eat right. We eat healthy stuff. Keep a good balance. Meat. What's this? Meat-based diet plants, aging quicker. So we choose our meats very carefully. We don't eat much in the way of red meat. If we're going to eat meat, it's usually going to be chicken or fish. Actually, we eat fish more than we eat any other kind of meat. Because fish has it's just packed with good stuff. Including mercury, which is why you're not supposed to exceed a certain amount of fish a week. So, got to be careful with mercury. But I love eating cans of sardines, packed with protein, vitamin B12, magnesium, some other minerals that are good for you. A lot of people are kind of grossed out by that sort of thing. Sardines. I know everybody I tell that I eat sardines are like, ugh. But you just got to find the right ones. So eating right, staying physically active, that's what you got to do. If you want to, blunt the effects of going downhill. Oh yeah, farm fish is good. I think actually most of the fish we eat is farmed. Like the salmon, especially, that we eat. We just ate salmon last night for dinner. Body cam. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we have body cams, my wife and I. Whenever we go running, we wear the body cam. Anytime we go out in public, really, we wear it. Fish oil capsules. Yep. D3. Oh, yeah, we take vitamin D3 supplements. Our vitamin D has been measuring in the 40s and 50s at the lab. When we do our semi-annual blood tests, and I'd say that's pretty good on a scale from 0 to 100. the scale that particular laboratory uses. Vitamin D3 shouldn't. I don't remember what the lower cutoff is for that, but is it 25 or something? I think. Don't want to exceed 99, and ours just happens to be in the middle, which my doctor says is great. Yeah, that's true. Fish aren't definitely not all the same. I'd say the salmon is our favorite. We love salmon. Absolutely love it. I'd say sardines would be our second favorite. I don't care too much for the bottom feeder fish, like catfish. What's the other one? Sole, I think, is a bottom feeder. Isn't it? Yeah. I don't know, you could just taste the muck that they eat, and it's just kind of grosses me out a bit. The bottom feeder fish. I ate catfish one time, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna eat this anymore. It's just the meat was, I don't know, the texture was even kind of weird. See, the problem with red meat that I've got is that it is so high in cholesterol and saturated fat. I mean, it may improve your muscle mass, but then you got to deal with clogged arteries. I don't know. To each his own. I'm not going to, and I'm not a doctor or dietitian, but my understanding is that red meat is very high in saturated fats and cholesterol, and well, I will say that it's also it does have a lot of good nutrients too. Zinc, vitamin B12, some other stuff. So it's not all bad, but I probably wouldn't want to eat red meat more than once a week, personally. You get scratched? How do you get scratched? I'm not sure I understand that one. From the I'm not sure what he means. But yeah. Let's see. Cholesterol 120. It's not having enough. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, if it works and it's not throwing off your numbers, then only your doctor can tell you what's ultimately what is good for you and what isn't. I've just been told by my doctor, and my wife's been told by her doctor to limit red meat. Limit it. Don't have to cut it out completely, but that's what we were told. And I mean, we're okay with that. And then, of course, we balance all the meat we eat with vegetables and fruits and grains. And we limit our alcohol intake as well. There's too much of that. Oh, iron. Yeah. Red meat's good for iron. Very good for iron. My understanding. Good night, Bebo. Yeah. Dogfish barking at the neighbors. Catfish, dogfish. I don't know. Let's see. What else? Oh, I did mention that we could do a Q&A. Does anybody have any questions for me? Got about 15 minutes or so before I should get going. because I have a very long day tomorrow. I got a day full of meetings tomorrow, and I have to get ready for those meetings. So I'll probably have to cut out about 8 o'clock. I'd like to squeeze in a hike tomorrow, too, after all my meetings, but I don't know if I have time. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer some. I did promise a Q&A, so here it is. Do I like baseball? Actually, yeah, I do. Well, growing up, my favorite was the Oakland A's. Yep, that's right. The good old A's. Go A's. In fact, I remember the game was on. There was an A's game going on at Candlestick Park when we had the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. I was 12 years old when that happened. Yep. That was fun. Not. How many hours average a day do you drive? So it varies a lot. Because I own a business, sometimes there's a lot of driving between clients. Like tomorrow, for example, I'm going to be driving from office to office, meeting with clients. So I'll probably put in a fair amount of driving tomorrow. On my off days, I like to go hiking. I'm not a homebody. I'm not much of a homebody. Unless I have a lot of work to do. But also because I own a business, I do work from home a lot. So when I have a backlog of office work, I'm not driving a whole lot. But then on my off days, I like to get out. I like to go hiking and do outdoorsy kind of things. So sometimes I'll drive quite a ways to go hiking or do something outdoorsy because I really don't like to sit inside if I don't have to. I like being outside. So it varies. I'd say it varies a lot. Yeah. Yeah, standing in parking places holding them. Oh, you mean on foot? Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I probably goes against social norms doing that. So if that's the case, then I would say it's kind of douchey. I don't know. I mean, it's I think supposed to be first come first serve if you're driving a car. That's probably the best answer I can give to that. Public transit, not bad. We have a bus system called the Vine. I forgot what Vine even stands for. I think it stands for Valley Intercity. I don't know. Let me look that up. Let's see what Vine stands for. I think it's an acronym for something. Well, they sort of changed it to the NVTA, the Napa Valley Transportation Authority, but there's the Vine Transit, and I don't remember what that stands for. I'll look this up. I'm going to their website right now. Nah, they're not going to have any kind of history or anything. I don't know. I forgot what Vine stands for, but it's a bus system, and it's not bad. I do wish we had a light rail system around here, which they could use. They have the Napa Valley Wine Train. They have the tracks that they could totally use for public transportation, and they don't. Because I think the train tracks are owned by the Napa Valley Wine Train. And I think it's a shame that it's not utilized for public transport. Because I think that would I think that would take a lot of cars off the road. What's your opinion on contact lenses? I don't see anything wrong with them. Yeah. Whether you decide to get glasses, contact lenses, um, LASIK, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any problem with any of those. Yeah, use it. When you deleted your old videos, are you going to reply all of them? Deleted your old videos. Replay all of them? Maybe is what he means. No, just the best ones. And the best ones are already. So once we get past 2016, the best ones are already featured in the worst of compilations that start in 2017, which is why I don't feel the need to keep rehashing all those from that point forward. Do you think a lot more people have been running red lights lately? No, actually, I think less people have. At least where I live, I notice less red light running now than I did in the early days of when I was driving. And I don't know why. I have no explanation for why I see less people running red lights nowadays. That seems to have gotten better. Yeah. All right, see what other questions we have here. Okay, we already talked about the public transit. Into this, watch this. Okay, still trying to. Do I know Furry? Oh, Furry Road. I knew of that channel a long time ago, but I don't remember what that's about. Oh, Furry. Wow, did I just say Furry? I meant to say Fury. Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay, that was a nice little blunder right there. Yes. I remember this channel, but it's been years since I've seen it. Okay. Furry. Wow. Have you found the subway route to Hawaii? Yeah, thinking about using it tomorrow to take a little vacation. Just take a subway all the way to Hawaii or do a road trip to Hawaii. I just got to get on that. Yeah, and again, that's why I say transit isn't that bad. It's really not that bad. I just think that I do hear some people complain that the routes aren't quite frequent enough, and that maybe they don't extend as late into the night as they should. That's just based on what I've heard. I do think that we should have a light rail system. Like we have the Napa Valley wine train tracks. Why aren't we utilizing that for public transport? I mean, I think the answer to that is because the Napa wine train owns those tracks. It's privately owned. Even though the Federal Railroad Authority still has jurisdiction over those tracks. It's, I don't know. Not that that's relevant to what I just said, but nonetheless. I've never seen a parking lot stander in person. I've only seen it in people's videos. Wow, people against having mass transit? More crime? Huh. That's an interesting take. So, okay, yes, Napa Valley Transportation Authority, but VINE did used to be an acronym for something long, long time ago, and I don't remember what it used to be. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'm just looking through the sidebar chat to see what other questions there are. I am like 3 minutes behind on some of these. Oh, repost. Yeah. No, because once I'm done reposting 2016, there's really no need for me to repost beyond that because they've already been featured in the worst of compilations. And I think people have kind of gotten tired of. Some of our viewers have been like, okay, when are you going to go back to excuse me. Let me start over. Sorry, okay, let me start that over. Some of my viewers have said that they've gotten tired of seeing reposted content and they'd like to go back to seeing entirely fresh new content. And I don't blame them. I've gotten tired of reposting, and I think I'm ready to go back to 100% fresh new content, and that's what we're going to do after next video. So the video that's going to come not this Friday, but the Friday after, on the 22nd, that is going to be the last of the old reposted content that we've been sharing alongside some new content. And I'm looking forward to being past all that, to be completely honest with you. I just want to get back to fresh everything. But like I said earlier in the stream, I do plan on doing a compilation of that really bad intersection, the last 10 years of that bad intersection, where I do a compilation of cutoffs at that one intersection and then a compilation of cutoffs at that other driveway. Okay, what is your favorite past car that you have owned? Oh, let's see. Past car, my favorite was a 1991 Chevy Lumina. It had the 3.1 liter V6, which for its time was decently powerful. By today's standards, it's not. It's a pretty weak engine by today's standards. So the GM manufactured, did it just say the GM? Oh, I'm really starting to sound stupid here. Okay, GM manufactured a 3.1 liter V6 in the back in the late 80s, early 90s. You can look it up. That was used in a lot of different GM models. The 3.1 liter V6 was used in Chevys, Pontiacs, Buicks. There's some other GMs that I'm not thinking of. The Chevys, obviously. Whatever other GM cars there were. The 3.1 liter V6 and a 4-cylinder. I can't remember how many liters the 4-cylinder was. The Iron Duke. You can Google the Iron Duke. Was a 4-cylinder engine used during that era as well that was really weak. And they still use that in some of the Grumman mail trucks. The United States Postal Service mail trucks use those 4-cylinder engines, GM engines. But the 3.1 liter V6 of that era had an output of 155 horsepower and somewhere in that range of torque as well. And for its time, you'd step on the gas, that thing would go. And it had a nice throaty sound to it. It had a nice burble when you would step on the gas. And I really liked the sound of the car, the get up and go. Wasn't a rocket ship, of course, but, for a 90s car, it was early 90s car, really wasn't bad for power. And I enjoyed that. It was a fun car to drive. And I really enjoyed the front bench seat that it had. It was a nice big car. That was probably my favorite past car that I've owned. Obviously the car I have now has far more horsepower and torque, but also a smaller engine. It's just amazing how the engineering has become so advanced nowadays, where you got a smaller engine that can put out just far more horsepower with so much better mileage, so much more efficient engines nowadays. It's crazy. Speed cameras. I don't know. I'm too mixed on that to really say. I don't know. I mean, if you're catching people going double the speed limit, I'd be for that. But there are circumstances where you might need to speed. You might be on your way to the emergency room or whatever. You might be trying to get away from somebody road raging against you, so there might be a reason to speed, a legit reason. And that's where a speed camera would really suck. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, school zones. Yeah, and I'd school zones. I'd be leaning probably a little more towards speed cameras if it was in a school zone, especially if it was during the hours when kids are being picked up, dropped off. When children are present. Yes, I have seen DashCam Lessons channel. Yep, submission based. Seen that. What else do we have? How far behind am I on comments here? What is the worst driver you have encountered? Okay, give me 1 second to think about that. Well, that's hard to say, because I have encountered so many that could be considered the worst. Yeah, I don't know. That might be too hard for me. I just don't know. Hello, Chris. How are you? Nah, sorry, Jordan. Nah, no. I don't think she would go for that. So, what else? What else do we have, GM? Oh, there was a 3.4 liter V6 too. I don't know if that was a little bit later, but that might have been for the performance GMs of the era that I was just talking about. The Iron Duke was awful. Yeah, and the mail trucks use them. The Grumman. You know the Grummans? Let's see if I can find a picture of a Grumman and share it with you. You probably know what I'm talking about. These are the mail trucks that have, it's the LLV. It's a Grumman LLV that use the Iron Dukes. It's the same engine you'll find, say, in the, let's see here. Hang on a second. It's the same engine you'll find in, say, the Chevy S10s from back in the day. Okay, so here, I'm sharing a picture right now. This is the Grumman LLV. Actually, my friend actually works for the U.S. Postal Service, and he drives these things, or he did. He's using his personal car now, but oh. He says this thing takes like years to get up to 60 miles an hour, if they can even go that fast. Oh, there's one on fire right there. Holy crap. Well, that's not good. Okay, well. Yeah. Yeah, our car is very peppy that we have now. I love it. It's so fun to drive that even a year and a half of owning it, we're still just as excited to drive it as we were when we first got it. So I wouldn't say 200 horsepower is low by today's standards. Maybe for a V6 it is. But for a 4-cylinder, I wouldn't say that 200 is low. It's kind of on the I would say 200's in the upper half of what's it? No, not the upper half. I would say what am I trying to say here? For a naturally aspirated engine, I would say 200 is good for a 4-cylinder. If you're talking about a turbocharged 4-cylinder, then no, 200 is weak. So it just depends on what you are comparing the horsepower to. Really depends. It really depends. I mean, it's like if you could draw a line down the middle and consider one half to be low horsepower, one to be high, I'd put 200 on the high half. Maybe not right at the top, but 200 is a decent amount for 4-cylinder. But again, for V6, yeah, not it's pretty low by today's standards. Ugh, do you really want me to ask her? 1969 Cougar. .7 liter V8 iForce engine. Yeah, the Tundras and the Sequoias are fairly powerful. Their 0 to 60 times are pretty respectable. For an SUV, I'd have to say. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? Crackhead Kathy and her family. Oh yeah, they are the worst. They're always the worst. I don't think she would go for that. I'll ask her when she gets home, all right? We'll settle this debate. We'll settle this when she gets home. Why not? Yeah, the mail trucks do have a distinct sound. The Iron Duke really does. You know it when you hear it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Prius. Oh, yeah. The electric cars are crazy fast. The Tesla Model 3. Holy crap. I think that 0 to 60 time is a good 3 seconds. Hey, sweetie. I'm on the live stream. So can I ask you something or tell you something? Jordan on here is asking, can I F your wife? All right. See, she's laughing. She's laughing. She's laughing right now. Well, what's your response to that?
Is Jordan a sugar daddy, or are we going to be set for life?
All right, Jordan, are you a sugar daddy?
Are we set for life?
Are you set for life?
90 times the hard. I guess the price was right.
If the price is right, she says.
I don't believe in prostitution, but I believe in sugar daddies.
Nah, no. Iron Duke, notorious for catching fire. I think it is because there was that one picture.
What?
The Iron Duke. It's an engine. It's a 4-cylinder engine that General Motors put out between, I think, 1987 and 1994 or something. Yeah, it's what they use in the mail trucks. It's what our friend that starts with the J drives or drove. And he talked about trying to drive up Petrified Forest Road in that thing, because it's an uphill grade, and trying to get up that in an LLV with the Iron Duke engine. He could only manage like 15, 20 miles an hour, and he had pissed off drivers behind him. The closest call I've ever had while driving, I mean, again, so many of them. I don't even know.
Oh, as far as an accident?
Well, yeah, I
Well,
mean,
I had the one coming down the mountain. The guy
what
almost-
mountain?
Howe Mountain, Old Howe Mountain. The guy almost
Old Howe Mountain?
straight on.
Oh, that one, yeah.
My camera turned off right
Well, that was in one of our videos. Well, again, you can only compare horsepower between comparable engines. So if you're trying to compare a four-cylinder to a V6, then that's apples and oranges. You can't. You just can't. Just like you can't compare a naturally aspirated engine to a turbo. You know, if you're talking 200 horsepower, if your baseline is 200 horsepower and you're comparing, naturally aspirated to turbo, now there's no comparison. Check engine light bugging you, Miata. Hey, no worries, Jordan. No worries. That's why we like to have a good sense of humor about things. So how many idiots do you counter on the road a day? Well, considering we do a lot of driving, maybe not that many. It just seems like a lot because we're posting a lot. But you also have to consider we do a lot of driving. So I could drive around for hours and maybe catch none. No, no idiots. Or I could drive around for 5 minutes and catch 5 idiots. I work in St. Helena. I work in Napa too, but I work in St. Helena as well. That seems to be the hot spot for bad driving in the Napa Valley. Like, I could drive across town and encounter a whole bunch. Or I can drive in my hometown of Napa for 4 hours and not capture a single one. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, it depends, but if I'm driving around Napa, not that many. If I'm driving in Fairfield, which I'm over there quite a bit, I capture a lot. Those are mostly aggressive drivers rather than clueless ones. The drivers over there seem to know what they're doing with their douchiness. Out here, it's both, but it's also a lot of clueless drivers not knowing what they're doing. Oh, okay. You're comparing. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. If you're comparing it to other V6s, then yeah, 200 horsepower is pretty weak for a V6 of this day in this day and age. Like the Toyota Camry XSE, the V6, today's XSE cranks out, I think the latest engine is 301 horsepower, and that would be also for the Solara. At least that was a couple years ago. I think the latest iteration of it is 301 horsepower. But then, Toyota's got some slightly larger engines for the sedans. Like, when you're getting up into the Lexus models, IS, ES, then I think maybe we're talking 315 horsepower, but not a whole lot more than that. Although there is just come to think of it, there is a Lexus. I can't remember the model. It's a V8. I think it's like a 5.7 liter V8 that cranks out like a crazy 500 something. I don't know. Yeah. What else do we have here? I'm a little behind on your comments. Wow, 6 minutes behind. Well, it's just her sense of humor, you know. Okay, what else? I can't believe I I just had to. She doesn't mind. Worst road rage, mine or what I've seen in other people? Oh gosh, depends on what you would consider the worst. I mean, I got a really good story that I think I'm gonna save for a video. This was years and years ago. This is way before we were dash camming. I think I've told the story before, but it's kind of long, and I need to get off this live stream actually, because my wife's home and got to eat dinner and go for our nightly run. So I'll have to save that for a future one. So I'll have to think about that as well. Like, what is the worst in terms of? Well, there's different aspects of what you would consider the worst. So I'll have to think about that some more. Okay, let's get to the last of your questions here. Oh yeah, duh, they don't make the Solara anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that. I don't remember what what the last year of the Solara was. Maybe I'm really dating myself by talking like that, but I'll Google that. Oh, Jesus. $2008? Wow. Okay. Jeez. Okay. 2008 was the last Solara year. See, I'm telling you, this whole time going by thing as you get older. All right, Bad Drivers in Maryland, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be leaving as well. No, we're going to delete those old videos. Just because we're, trying to start fresh. In a sense. Let's see here. Worse in terms of arguing. Oh, it was the guy. Speaking of Toyota Solaras, it was the guy in a Toyota Solara that passed me on the shoulder. And when I caught up to him at a light, I was arguing with the guy. So that was the worst. That was a long time ago. That was back in 2013 or something. Yeah. Trolls, no, haven't had to deal with those lately. Haven't really, yeah, no, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Seen obscene? No, I haven't. Nope, I haven't seen them. Yeah, thank you, Scott B, for tuning in as well. So on that note, I am going to get going. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and hope you had a good time here. I know I had a good time talking to you guys and having bad drivers of the Bay Area in here and talking about stuff. So I'm going to post this guy's channel one more time, this reckless driver in our area, Jolly Green Cuts. You can see how reckless this guy is, and he drives the same freeways we do. It's pretty disturbing. And, oh, we will. And it's not good. It's kind of scary that he drives the same roads that we do. So anyway, check him out. I put a link in the I put a link in the description of this live stream to his YouTube channel, the Reckless Guy. So, yeah. All right, guys. You all have a good night. And we will do another live stream hopefully soon. And tune in to video number 21 on Friday, April 22nd. I don't anticipate that we're going to post any videos this week because I kind of need a week to take care of other business. So Friday the 22nd of this month, you should expect video number 21 to come out. All right. All right. Love you guys. And be safe out there. Watch out for the road ragers. Bye now.